simply just pushing buttons and causing problems for those trying to make a difference in the world. Yeah, you're just pissing us off. So
Well, first and foremost, Tom, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. My
sure.
name's Ryan, aka Cha or Cha Money. We do a little show over here on a stream called ChaMoneylive. I'm really, man, I'm just a guy who's in. We discussed a little bit on the phone, but just to give a context for the audience, I'm just a dude who's in search of the truth. I want to
Mhm.
help expand people's minds, elevate the energy, try and enhance the true state of self. I'm not as good today as I will be tomorrow. I'm just trying to grow and learn and question this universe that I'm living in, or even if it is the universe. That's the whole
I love it.
question,
See,
man.
that's the good side of all this is you meet the coolest people that are just they usually have like a humility embedded in a confidence with also savviness and a perseverance. And to meet these kind of people, these are the frontier people that are going to change our world. And the better world's coming because of you guys. So, I mean, otherwise there'd be no voice. These guys, these clowns pushing the buttons would just simply have their way, and they're not bright. So the brightest and the best are surfacing despite the inverted pyramid.
It is
So
time. It is a time. I don't even like to say, the Great Awakening, because we're still in a giant slumber, but definitely becoming more aware, and
absolutely.
I can appreciate it. So, first and foremost, again, thank you so much. Today we have with us Thomas Althouse, correct? I'm getting it right. Say it
That's
right.
right. Yeah,
He's a
you're right.
writer, author, father, visionary, truth seeker. I can tell.
Yeah.
And today I kind of want to just give like again, I just want to give like a brief synopsis of your story to kind of let people know like who you are, what's going on, what you've been talking about for the last 20 plus years. You've been saying the
Yeah.
same thing, which I
Yeah.
really admire. And then where we are today with everything that's going on in the world a little bit, and then a few things from the interview I listened to as well, and just kind of go down the rabbit hole with me if you don't mind, man.
Absolutely. No, this is what we have to do. This is my job. And when they take away everything you have, buy off family, take your jobs, take your um, property, take everything, make basically shoot everything in your world away, including my sons. And so what happens is all you have left is to do the truth. And if you're like we are, you'll be working hard. You'll continue to use that ethic of working hard. You'll turn it all to bringing the truth so others don't go through what you've gone through and you can make a better world. And so we do not become bums. We become industrious for the truth. And so if you take away everything we have, we'll simply apply to making it better for others. So we are never going to rest. So I'd love to go down that rabbit hole. Let's do it.
It's the fire within, and it's hopefully the light at the end of the tunnel. And at the end of the day, like I really feel, even though obviously we'll talk about it in a little bit, some tragic things have happened in your life. I think there is something real. I've you've said, and some of the other people I listen to said, is like at the end of the day, if you keep fighting for truth and honesty, they can't come after you because you're
That's right.
sticking to your guns.
That's right. And often it does come down. They even leak all these things for their own films. Who wants it more? Well, if you're a father, a visionary, or a writer, or a person like yourself, wanting the truth and really hungering for it, who's going to outlast the opposition? They may have all the toys, the whistles, the power, the money, the personnel, and they'll throw it the more at you, the more you have. That threatens them with the truth. So, but who's going to win at the end of the day? Those that are never going to stop, those that will see it through, that will outlast because their passion leads them that way and their heart takes them that way. And that's what the other side doesn't have. But we have been discovering keys to what they fear most. Writing the playbook right now, Ryan. I'm writing the playbook of like how their tactics work, what they do. They are not that smart when it comes down to it. And I talk about the collective. What is they? The collective. I'm talking about Phoebe, the FBI. I'm talking about Warner Brothers. I'm talking about all the studios, which Disney basically is the mothership that has launched this whole thing with creating a strategy for how to acquire intellectual property they do not own. That was why Mike Lang, who they don't want to talk about, came into picture. That's why Harvey Weinstein was placed right under him. That's why this all happened in 1993 under Eisner. Now they're concerned about their legacies. And so this whole conglomerate, when I say they, I'm referring to the whole conglomerate that's interconnected about profiting off the best gold rush boon of our time, intellectual property. That is the biggest moneymaker, and you're only dealing with one family, basically, when it comes down to it.
And that's just it. That's just it. We're really starting to find it out. But to give people a little bit of context or a brief history, can you
Sure.
kind of explain like what like basically the Immortals is, how it was stolen from you, and how we got here today a little bit?
Well, that's a great question. What they do is they will never stop. If they don't get what they want, they come again, and they just come fast. So they were after this, and this is the 128 page earmarked. All these little tabs on here are matchups directly with the Matrix that and other groups of films that were taken from this that directly are considered revolutionary, like the Jacks of the Neck, robot-like agents, little girl at the train station, the Squiddies, the identical figures facing off the end. All this is here, including the exact ending of the Matrix. It's all here. And this copyright, you'll see a date where it's submitted to me, this copy from the supervisor and specialist of the Copyright Office and director. But the actual date down here is what they're referring to, is 1 year before the Matrix. Actually, less than a year before the Matrix. So they had this in hand. I also had submitted this to Warner Brothers, but this was in hand when they shot the Matrix. Now, people are coming forward saying, yeah, this was in hand when it was shot. Now, how'd this come to be?
Wow.
I was at Pat Robertson's organization, Religious Right, who's very connected from his Congressman daddy, Senator daddy, to all these different groups are connected. It's like brandy and cigars at Lake Tahoe. And they all get together. We're talking the Disney execs like Eisner are directly connected, sharing cigars with Pat Robertson from Religious Right. Also the head of the FBI. Also, you've got the other studios, MGM, Sony, Warner Brothers is directly connected, running Universal. Also, their media contacts that they own. TMZ is owned by Warner Brothers. The same attorney that represents Warner Brothers represents TMZ, also represents Netflix. And so you have Mike Lang from Disney. What does Disney own? ABC News. And on. What does Robertson own? Everything from the Ice Capades to you name it, wireless network. What does Warner Brothers own? They own AT&T. So you've got them owning these mega monopolies and mega conglomerates. Their personal thugs, such as Joel Silver, he owns the biggest oil company in Canada, basically, and pharmaceutical. So what are these thugs, studio heads and studios doing, owning all these different things, from phone systems, securities, to computer systems, you name it? What are they doing? We're not supposed to have monopolies in our day. And when they went for AT&T recently, they were amazed that they got away with it. So back to our story, the question, Immortals. Pat Robertson, I'm at his organization back in 1988 when he's running for president. I'm being groomed to be the face of the Christian Coalition, a new organization being formed there, picked from the student body and network. I'm being told that I'm the guy that's going to be the most successful. We're grooming you. When they groom you, Ryan, they provide you the wife, a beautiful woman. They like casting a show. They cast you with a woman who fits what would be your taste and likes. It's like Total Recall. Exactly.
It's the Truman Show.
And so what happens is, what's that?
Truman Show.
Absolutely. And so what happens is they also have access to everything you do and can steer you which way they want to steer you. Honey, you should do this. Honey, do that. It's unbelievable. And if you don't do it, they'll gaslight you to death. So they provide you the car, the house, everything, the job. They tell you, they actually use these words. You're one of the elite now. They use that word. It's no conspiracy theory. That's the language they use. They also, to get your confidence, tell you what they've done wrong and how they got away with it. And they brag about it. Another part of the playbook where they screw up, where we write the other side of the playbook, how to defeat them. Their boasting and bragging is something they do constantly because they have all what? The power. And they think it's all about the power. There's their problem. But what they're so stupid about is if they're taking on visionaries and writers that actually do the work, which this cannot be contested in a fair court of law. This cannot be contested. It's all here.
It shouldn't be allowed to be, but with how we see the courthouses now,
that's their, what do they do? Art of war. That's the whole thing. Let's tangent off your question just a second to address that, because you bring up a good one. The art of war basically is their main thing, including the book the Wachowskis claimed was their Bible. How to make $1 million in Hollywood without losing a dime, basically, something like that. So that means making B movies. So what are they doing with this hard tech work, which even has Neuralink in it way back, described in detail? What are they doing with that? They wanted to save their career. They failed at Assassins. They had another writer brought in, Warner Bros. Did, that really pissed them off. We've got a system where they control the Copyright Office, where they copyright titles. They actually copyright titles. And so the Immortals title is copyrighted under them, my title, but no body of work. That creates slots. Then what they do is create all these subtitles under Immortals with Dina Laurentiis claiming headship of that title and titles. Who's the one that whined and dined the Wachowskis? They're so stupid, so out in the open.
Death by copyright. They own you. They try and own
They
you.
own,
They
that's
own
right.
you.
But here's the deal. They create slots under those subtitles with no body of work, which is, you can't do that, but they do with insiders. And so then when they take a derivative of your work, of a studio, all these studios like the work, right, the script. So what they did was, because they thought it was revolutionary, what they do is these slots then are, they take a subtitle, slick their work in there, under Immortals, subtitle used, Army of Darkness, and suddenly you've got every studio satiated, satisfied. Finally, what they did was when I came forward and had the copyright on my work, which shows all the body of work contesting they're just titles. Mm-hmm. What they do is Dino Laurentiis takes his name off the copyright, Paradise Films, his film company, off the copyright. And keep in mind, Paradise Films and Dino Laurentiis is also on the copyright for Assassins with the Wachowskis. Same guys, same companies. And then they put it in the ownership of the largest investment firms in our world that fund films, lend for films. And so the investment firms are now claiming the title of the Immortals at the Copyright Office with all the subtitles that the studios can use to create slots, which was Disney's Mike Lang over Harvey Weinstein by Mike Eisner put in place his strategy to get the intellectual property of authors that are still alive. And that is all hinged on when they die and you bought their family, simply push forward that you actually own it, occupy that slot under the Immortals title in my case, and Mike Lang has succeeded in solving the very complex question, they say, and challenging, of how to acquire intellectual property that you want, that you call the library, hard copies you have, you don't own it, in a New Jersey warehouse, which they say in their article. It's like the Sopranos on steroids.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So let me understand this correctly. Basically, they take your intellectual property, copyright it, put blank underneath it so they can use it for however long they want, and then when you're dead and gone, they're like, "Oh, it's ours." They basically wait you out.
You're
right?
close, really close. It's worse. They copyright your title. Sink that in. They copyright your title. What's that?
You copyright
How
words.
can you copyright titles?
Yeah, you can't even. Yeah. It's like copyrighting words.
That means they own everything. They put the dictionary in there and they own everything in the world.
They're owning words now.
They're owning titles, and that creates slots. You have to have insiders to do that. That's why these people stepped in. The specialist and the director of the Copyright Office are saying, this is real. Tom is right. Here's his work. Predates Matrix. All this stuff is here. And it goes further. They claim I have 8 pages of scribbled notes. Now, Ryan, why do they claim that? Their attorneys claim that. Here's how the playbook works. They provide their own attorneys. Now, let's touch upon that. Stick that in the hat for a second and feather in the hat. And let's go back to your question because I've not answered it faithfully.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm listening, man. This is awesome.
Right. Well, that's the funny thing. They call you crazy and all these wild things and dangerous. But a crazy person can't track multiple layers. Like one of my favorite comedians is Eddie Izzard. And what he does is callbacks. He'll go on a topic and then wow the audience with coming back with, okay, and tying that thing was earlier in. Brilliance. That's genius. That's genius. And I've been tested like others as genius, as creative genius and extremely empathetic. So the thing is, all their claims fall short, but then they try to say that that's faked. Everything is just shortcut, simple cheats and fraud with them. And so here we have all the proof. This cannot be denied. I'm holding up one more time because this cannot be denied. Yet they're going to push it through as if it's 8-page scribbled notes. Now, how do they do that? Well, I said we'd go back to it. So let's follow through the tracking. We'll touch that in a second if we have the time. Let's go to this, if we may. Where to come from? I attended Robertson's University, thinking it was a Christian university, and it would be a good place to study and also make my mom happy because at the time, as a young student, my parents, they would help out if I go to a place where they felt was good. Well, they were big fans of 700 Club and stuff like that. So I go there, and boy, is it a nightmare world. It is wannabes off the charts that are drinking drugs, you name it, which, I mean, teach their own. But the thing is, that's not what they're advocating. Then they actually claim, Ryan, that God has set them apart. I almost did a Robertson sound there, I guess it's printed. But it's like, has set them apart through grace to receive anything they want, do any wrong, and Jesus will cry tears for them for doing wrong, but grace will be compounded, and so greater glory for God if they sin. What the hell?
No.
What the hell? And then the guys are actually taken to special meetings. We're taken to special meetings apart from the women. Now, think of where we are. Is this a Stone Age? Clubs and pulling the hair along with what we want? They actually believe, they teach us, or try to, that the men should be proud of their package, that the seed they carry. They could call it the seed they carry. It's like Christian porn, soft porn. And they're like, okay, so you guys, the women are made for your pleasure. They actually tell you that. Women are made for your pleasure. You are kings of the earth. They actually, get a nausea pill right now, but this is what they do. Let me go and finish what they do. Where's the Immortals come from? Why do I have to write it? Because of this garbage. I mean, this is too much, isn't it? And so what happens is it gets better or worse. Robertson's actually saying the purpose of his university is to get Christian nerds, if you will, I'll say nerd, to couple with models. Because in Virginia Beach, all the models come to Virginia Beach. So therefore, the real purpose is to get beautiful women with these Christian nerds, and Robertson has his empire.
It's evil.
All about, it's complete evil. It's Dr. Strangelove. It's Dr. Strangelove. Then they propound multiple women. Then they propound the women have no rights. They're supposed to wear their hair long because it's biblical. It's a cult. And then you've got all the security force that is actually police force, Virginia Beach.
It's just like what we're seeing now. It's just like even the major universities, but on a more Christian level, I guess you could say. But it seems like just an indoctrination.
Well, on a cult level.
Cult, yeah, on a cult
it's
level.
Jim Jones. It's Jim Jones. You have security forces, all that stuff. They're not licensed to carry magnums or have the Virginia seal on their badge and all that stuff. But they do. They break any rule they want. They get anything they want, right? And so you have the police being traded back and forth. If you call the police department of Virginia Beach on Robertson, they have a guy you're assigned to talk to. Let me get this guy on the line. And he will shut down anything you're doing, right?
Gosh,
the judges say, why do you want to hurt this wonderful man? So what happens is the student body and network people will say, well, he does some good. Sure, he's having the affairs. He's doing young boys and young girls. He's got all the drug running in Nicaragua, all these other places. He's got the diamond mines, blood diamonds in South Africa. Sure, he's got all this, the oil companies, but he does some good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so did Hitler. Hitler made a great Autobahn and a
my
Volkswagen.
God.
Unbelievable. So people keep turning a blind eye that come into it. Judges, police, you name it, and they get rewarded. Robertson wrote an article, Rewards and Honors, right? But his view of women, he actually says, and I want to touch upon this, where does Immortals come from? And this bleeds into all the work, which leads into the Matrix. Here's the core and roots of these things that are in the Matrix and the Immortals too. Preceding. Why? What does Robertson say about the women? If a woman is raped, it's her fault because she dressed provocatively, no matter what her age is, young or underage even. If a wife is cheated on, it's her fault. She didn't satisfy her husband. It is a male caveman world with Pat Robertson. And the sad thing is, it is in Hollywood too.
Yeah.
That's how they're bedfellows and buddies. And yes, the sex ring exists.
Yeah.
In the past, mothers of certain starlets, they're saying now, said, do the casting couch, do it, get your roles. You look at Lucille Ball. She worked her way up through prostitution and also sleeping with the heads. That's how she got the good roles. I'm not knocking her. That's all was left to her. It's not the woman's fault so much. It's the guys who are profiting off the system.
It's just as big as in a cult. It's the Hollywood cult.
It's a cult, and it's spread across our world. And it's a nerd cult. And I'm saying a nerd cult because these guys, what's their Achilles heel, Ryan? That beautiful women would speak bad about them. That's why when beautiful women come my way, they're approached by people calling themselves anonymouses. It's warning them off. Don't be a Tom, don't be Tom. I'm supposed to be individually isolated So to look bad for women. That is Robertson's ploy. That is what he's most afraid of, is that a beautiful woman by my side might speak bad about him. And I've had beautiful women with me
Whoa.
that were Miss Americas because we did musical shows together and they
Mm-hmm.
liked who I was. Nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
That is the bane.
Pretty blue eyes, nice
Yeah,
guy. I get
that is
to.
the best. That's why the sex ring of Robertson approached me at the time. Blonde hair, blue eyes, dimples.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happens is that's the biggest problem for Robertson is likability. Those of us that are geniuses in creating likability, like yourself, that really is the problem for the other side in their nerd-based system of ruling the world. They want world power. They want the beautiful women to love them, to want them, but they got a lot of skeletons in their closet. And they even use that, they even said, look online, what was the approachment Dina Laurentiis used, the guy who's claiming my title and the copyrights? What do you use to approach the Wachowskis? You will have money, fame, and beautiful women. The Wachowskis don't want to be girls. They're dudes, well, nerds, doing, not insult nerds, but doing what Warner Brothers told them to do.
Exactly.
Because Warner Brothers had an agenda for transgender things.
Pawns.
Like
They're pawns.
They're pawns. They're pawns. That's why they're racing Matrix 4 forward, because we got them. Got them by their, I'm going to just say it, balls, whether they're or not. I can't stand it. It's just a joke. Anyway,
they don't even have any time.
I know, that's why I'm joking. I couldn't resist. I mean, the humor thing, yeah.
I love it.
Humor, likability is the biggest problem. That's why their attack on you personally is crazy, dangerous. Everybody knows not to use him. These are quotes. These are talking points, And what's really interesting, Ryan, is they employ your family. They'll go to your weakest links in your family and buy them off. You would not believe the rewards, maybe you will, that my sister, my brother, my cousin just got. The rewards are off the charts. With an FBI operative named Brian Fitzpatrick, who's actually our congressman and just happened to be our district in Pennsylvania, with my sister's picture on the floor of Congress like she's some national treasure. Why? Because he's given her everything. An unlicensed elementary school counselor? Not to pick it, but that's the lowest rung on the psych field. And how is she affording these exotic trips, appearances on CNN, owned by Warner Brothers?
This is your sister?
Yes, she's been totally bought, packaged, and groomed. And she went from, quote, being my biggest fan to being my worst enemy.
Wow.
She is trying to get me put away in the insane asylum for good. Why? What did I do? And Ryan, that's the problem. In this country, they can do what's called 302s, no knock entry, SWAT team with helmets like they're in deals, body cams, body armor, automatic weapons, telling your neighbors you better get inside. You don't want to see this.
Yeah.
Busting in, 5 stooges coming into your home, hauling you off for what? They're not going to tell you.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because we'll go down this a little bit to switch gears. I've been saying it the whole reason I started, not the whole reason, but a big part of the reason I started the show was to speak up. I saw the censorship going on, and it's a big question I've been asking is what do we do, at least in America, when the Central Intelligence Committee, the feds, all them have been sold out and do not have the Americans' people's best interests at hand because they don't. They don't.
What you do is you light the powder keg. And that means, I don't mean revolutionary violence. No. We've got the wisdom. We got the smarts. We got the creativity. They are fans of our work. When they approach me, they always say, we're fans of your work. We're fascinated by your story. Right there, 2 pals. The story. What is the real power? The end of Game of Thrones, which I think was really good. Not the ending was kind of lame, maybe. But the statement that Tyrion Lannister says. What's he say? What makes a king? What makes a change in our world? What grabs the people's attention? Power, money, armies, a good story. And if that story is true, and keep in mind, Warner Brothers and their attorneys and all these other guys, Disney, are saying they put me in my own story. When they have their contacts call me a lot. And these contacts give you bits of information to try to bring you in. So when they're doing that, here comes the plane. Whenever I do an interview, the plane or the helicopters fly really low over the house and buzz it. And then you get a signal interruption. But it's like, our house is bugged. No bones about it. But what they do is, what you get is they tell you, these contacts tell you, yes, it's going on. Yes, you're being targeted. Yes, it's going to happen. Then they accuse you publicly of being paranoid. It's not paranoia if they're actually doing it and saying they're doing it. They want you to know, but then they want to use that as a leverage card to accuse you and lock you away. It's insane. Do I have 2 dead sons? Yes. Were they murdered? Yes. Bought family or tell to say they just died? The way they died, I'm a lifeguard for the one. The way the one died, my dear son, no, he couldn't have died that way unless he was drowned. And if he died on a military base in a shallow lap pool, when he's an expert swimmer diver at age, what, 30, 26, 30? Wait a minute.
Are you kidding me?
And then the lifeguard just left him there in the pool. I was a lifeguard. You never leave a person in the pool. And then my sister's claiming, it's completely bought. How would she know, first of all? But here she says, oh, well, he told the lifeguard he's going to hold his breath underwater. He said, well, obviously you're going to be fine, and left. Did Julia Zarco have an eye in the sky little floaty thing?
Are you kidding?
Was she somehow privy to information that none of us heard in another vortex world? I mean, how did she hear this conversation? Kirk's dead. How does a physically fit, brilliant young man die in a lap pool, expert swimmer, expert diver? And where's the lifeguard? And why wasn't that lifeguard investigated? Stars and Stripes runs an article. You can see it online. Kirk was revived. An investigation will ensue? No investigation. He was cremated. He goes to the hospital alive. What happened next? What happened next?
What?
Yes, that is the FBI. The FBI was assigned to Hollywood. Originally, the justification was to national security, to monitor content, in case we're in war, things like that. You know, can't have that in there. That won't help our cause. Okay, fine. What are you doing now, FBI? What are you doing? Why do you have a Hollywood FBI operative, Brian Fitzpatrick, that looks like Pee Wee Herman and has not done any good in our world at all, suddenly becoming our congressman at the same time when you're a lifelong operative? He's still receiving letters, and I have a picture up on his desk when I went in to drop off a letter saying, please work with me on this, and please let's stop this, and stop using my sister, who's bulimic, on medication, and, you know, off-the-wall egotistical image person who's a maniac now.
It's wild because the people that front to be the most like perfect citizen to society and want to help out behind closed doors are dying inside.
Oh my God! Watch the image. Watch the image. I mean, my sister's a plastic Barbie now. That's it.
What's her name? Is her last name?
Julia Zarco.
Julia Zarco. Okay.
Yeah.
And forgive me, your son was Kirk Althouse, or
Kirk Althouse, and then Sean Althouse was murdered too.
So yeah, what happened to Sean?
They did the X-Files move. They always do film matchups, and this was a contact that told me it's the X-Files play. They wanted me to look it up after he's killed. So what happens is he's killed by what? The most unlikely vehicle in the world next to a space shuttle, a snowplow. Are you serious, guys? So they're making him look like an idiot. And he's not. He's a brilliant young man. Brilliant. The heart of gold.
Tom.
And what happened to him? Cremated before I ever got to see him. Cremated. Again. So what happens is this whole cultish thing going on. And, you know, I've learned to suck it up and keep a presence, but inside, you know, I'm torn up about that. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They want to use that to lock me away. They're saying you can't function in society. You're seriously physically impaired. So basically, Ryan, it's this. We killed your sons. We want you to know about that. So we're going to lock you away forever and take your stuff and put your last son in jeopardy, telling me they're pulling up with cars, the plane flyovers, helicopters. They're saying they're doing that to let me know, because I asked why to the contact. Well, here's the answer. Why? To let you know we can get to your last son anytime we want.
Mm-hmm. So you're claiming you have an insider that is telling you that they're doing
insiders.
This? Yeah.
The system, the playbook that I'm writing, what happens is what's revealed is you have handlers, anonymouses. Now we're using these terms, we're tagging these terms on them because this is what their functions are. Handlers, anonymouses, players, they have negotiators, all these people, false attorneys, bot judges, bot clerks. I mean, there's a whole slew of players, right up to FBI operative, lifelong operative congressmen, giving my sister black tie dinners, trips to the Caribbean, right to London.
Paid and bought off, man.
Yeah. When she had an unemployed husband.
And it's
And
sad, it's so sick because they, like you just said, they want to make your son look crazy,
yeah.
and make you to look crazy when you have been saying the same thing for 20 plus years, Tom.
And
Probably.
look what we have. I'm going to hold it one more time. One more time. We can't overkill this because they hate it every time I hold it up. I'm going to hold
Yeah,
it up.
yeah.
Is there any doubt? The Jacks the Neck are in here. Wachowski said they want to do Jacks the Neck for real. This precedes it. So what was the ploy? Let's tag back to that feather in the hat thing that we tagged. What was the trick? Provide their own attorneys. They provide their own attorneys. What's the job then? They want you to sue. Why? They want you to sue because they're going to provide you an attorney who's not licensed, which means you already lost. Suspended license. Who's going to go, oops, I didn't know my license was suspended since 1982. Really? You didn't?
Jeez.
What? So they file you pro se, pro per, on your own. The day of, after running out the clock for 3 years on prep. Which they then edit out, so the best evidence isn't presented, which they then also say, give me everything you got, and end up saying to you, Ryan, I just want to give Warner Brothers everything they want and be done with this. While they have a contract that says, if you drop me, it's no longer contingency basis. You have to pay every hourly rate you would owe, and instantly, you couldn't get another attorney. Continue your case. Yet, that bought attorney will go through your evidence with his team and pull out everything they want to strip away. So the goal was, say, there's no real scripts like this predating 1996. And then they even go so far as, we're not going to use your expert witnesses. We don't want your witnesses. We're just going to use the script. Now, here's how the pinch and play come into play. So instead of this showing up as evidence in the court, 8 pages of scribbled notes. Well, hold on. We have a poor man's patent that has the full script in it and the story treatment. It's all in there. Well, when push comes to shove, what happens? Your inside attorney for Warner Brothers, who says he's working with his classmate in Warner Brothers, Linda Burrow, both from University of Berkeley. Your poor man's patent ends up missing everything. 8 pages of scribbled notes. See? So your scripts have been taken out. Ripped open, obviously. Ripped open, sealed. Then they push it that that's all there was. But when they ripped it open and took it, just look at the dark side of this rabbit hole. I mean, deeply dark. They took out the first page of the story treatment because the first page of the story treatment, the other side, the flip side, was the notarized statement notary. They took that too. So when they took the notary, they took out the first page of the story department or story treatment, which says it all with the script, right? And put 8-page scribbled notes. So I'm in depositions, which I don't get their depositions, only mine, 7.5 hours of gruel. They have me open it, and my attorney is saying, wait. Why don't you take it away from the room and open it with your team and see what's in it and then bring it back? What attorney in the world, Anthony Rankin on Maui, would allow a client's key evidence be taken from off record with the opposing firm to open away from him?
What?
And then to be brought back?
It's a joke.
It's a joke. And so what happens is we end up with this whole rigmarole thing where he comes back at the end of 7.5 hours, right? They couldn't find the notarized statement they had stolen from earlier to put back in, right? So at the end of 7.5 hours of grueling, I have the flu at the time, out in California at their stupid building, 23rd floor. We have
Evil
the
LA.
Warner Bros. Attorney going like this. The Warner Bros. Attorney goes like this. Oops, wait, we're out of time, but I've got to get something really important for my office. So Anthony Rankin, why don't you come with me and stretch your legs? Anthony Rankin leaves with Linda Burrow, lead attorney for Warner Bros., his classmate. Comes back, Anthony Rankin comes back with the notarized statement inserted. You can imagine how the hours they were running, flying, moving to get that notarized statement back in there, right? But still 8 pages of scribbled notes. And so we have them, and Anthony Rankin comes in, and here's the best part, Ryan. Everything's recorded. He had a tape recorder that matched mine, one of those pocket recorders, right?
Wow.
And so picture is there providence or something here? Because he takes mine, turns it off, puts him in his pocket. He records everything as a fail-safe in case he can't trust Warner Brothers as they screw me, if they try to come at him. So what happens is he records everything, even lunch and everything illegally you can't do. He gives the wrong tape recorder back. So he gives me his, which looks like mine. Everything's on it. Everything's on it. Everything's on it. You've got Warner Brothers confessing on it. Way to go, Rankin. What a great name, Rankin. He even uses the word rank, means stank. Right. It's perfect. Burroughs, tunnel down the rabbit hole. The names are just incredible.
It is. We are on the world stage. It's like someone else.
We're on the world stage.
People are playing with us.
Like we are entertainment. Yeah. The humans, the little puny humans, are entertainment. Yeah, but what sparks the interest of the intellects out there, when we have a heart and genius and compassion and actually do apply to others, not the Warner Brothers code and Disney code and FBI code of what's in it for me, and we're all out for ourselves in the end. That is not true. It's not all about power. Compassion is the real power. Compassion is the seed for creativity. It clears the mind for creativity. Compassion. And they're learning that now. So they try to harness us. So what happens? Let's call back now to the situation. In comes Rankin. This is what he's yelling at me on the tape. This is what was sent. This is what Boyd sent. The submitting attorney who submitted my work, right? Well, I have an affidavit from him, and this is really going to be a piece of cake when you see it. So anyway, he's saying, this is what was sent. These 8 pages, I'm trying to figure this out, Tom. You got to admit, this is what was sent. This packet is what was in it, right? In comes the Linda Burrow going, oh, so you want to change your statement then? The question is, Linda Burrow, what was so important you had to get from your office? I thought we're out of time. But Rankin goes, wait. Mr. Althouse wants to make a statement. He has to make a statement. I don't. So I say something like this. I'm exhausted, but, blown away, badgered by this freak Rankin on Maui. You can still see there being warded by Warner Brothers.
Jeez.
And so what happens is I say, well, if this hasn't been touched, then I have to say that's what was in it, but that's not what was in it. And they're like, okay, cut. You're supposed to allow a review of your deposition, right? It's court order. It's guaranteed rights to review your statements. Guess what they did? They don't allow it.
I was going to say,
Rankin says on the tape, you'll be able to just push in a code and review it and do it. And it'll be easy peasy. He says that. What happens is the court reporters who were fans, they actually said during the break, we're fascinated by his story, because I said, it must be really boring for you. We're fascinated by his story. We really admire who you are and what you've done, and we want to see you make it. These are court reporters. The videographer and the one court reporter. And so that gives you a clue how
they've been following. They've been following your story, obviously.
How the jury would react. Yeah, they're hearing. So what happens is Rankin gets an email from the court reporters saying, please give this Tom Althouse, your client. Here's the materials for him to review. Rankin never gives me it. Never shows me it. He says instead, you can't review your material. That's illegal. You can't review it because it costs you thousands of dollars to go there anyway, and there's nothing you can say anyway. No. Now, here's the beauty of all this. He says that he contacted the submitting attorney, James Boyd. If anybody can stay with this, here's what's happening. Because this is how they work. This is really their Achilles heel. Control the courts, corruptions in the courts, and throw in the case. They'll say, if you look online, they'll say over and over through TMZ and others, he lost his case. Well, look how
that's what they the news, even the news are bought out.
Bought out. Yes, they own the news. They own the news. ABC News is owned by Warner Brothers. Disney, CNN owned by Warner Brothers.
The reason this isn't even hard for me to believe, and I believe your story, because one, I'm good at, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, and I'm a pretty good bullshitter myself, sir. And two, just recently, I'm sure you're familiar with Edward Snowden. We talk about him a lot on
Oh my God, yes.
And so he recently came out. We were watching an interview with him, literally talking about how they use code names for AT&T and Verizon, and they've been keeping tabs on you on books out in the open since at least the 80s.
Yes.
And they use code names like Blarnaby or other things like that. So for us to not believe that they're not in Hollywood and they're not bought out within the court systems and stuff, you have to be pretty ignorant. But we're starting. Thank God, thankfully. Again, we're starting to become more aware, and stories like yours are starting to be heard. And I want you to hit something as
Go
well
ahead.
is people are now coming to you because you've been drugged through the hell and back, but
Yes, yes,
now
indeed. Yeah.
people that were going against your story are starting to come out and say apologize and say sorry. We believe
Yes,
you now, right?
yes. That's right. I got one guy, it was a major critic that was just trashing me. He then came publicly and said, Tom, I'm so sorry. Now I see that you were actually telling the truth. They're so good at spinning the other side. And that's what they do. They spin, they lie, they cheat. But the thing is, when you get down to the deal, here's how they're caught now when we actually bring forward the corruption in the court. You do what they're most afraid of. That's how you counter their playbook. Do what they're most afraid of. They're afraid of the court fraud being revealed because that means a whole new case. They're afraid of that. They're afraid of the judge who was actually appointed by Robertson and Bush, former President Bush, George W., was appointed to give him conservative decisions. So he's no longer a second-class citizen, Robertson says. It's on his website, his Law and Justice Center. And so what happens is you got Klausner put in position to do what he did, right? And you got Rankin saying on tape, I did my homework, that he's the worst pick. That'll give an MSJ like that, motion for summary judgment. That's what they always go for. They block all your evidence and say motion for summary judgment. It's like the evidence is unreal. And so what happens is you've got them saying that Rankin says, I contacted James Boyd, your submitting attorney, going back to this thread, right? This deals with the altered evidence in the poor man's packet when they put 8 pages of scribble notes. Again, they don't want a full script shown, right? They want to claim that nothing was done before 1996 because that's the first time you see Matrix title on the sheets.
Now, did they steal that? Yours is the Immortals. Where did the
Yes.
Matrix come in?
The Matrix is simply an inversion of the Immortals letters.
Okay.
What they do is they like to be clever. You know the little girl at the train station, they call her Sati?
Yes.
I'm with Brittany.
Okay.
So what they do is they
It's
take
my wife's
the
name.
letters.
It's my wife's name.
Yeah. And they are really big about the mirror thing, the mirror image.
Okay.
And so my birthday.
I was gonna say, when I was listening to Shelley's interview,
Yeah.
they put your birthday in multiple times throughout the movie just to F
It's
with
all
you.
over the place. Not just that movie, every movie. I'm watching just about every movie.
So let me get this.
That's Animatrix.
Oh, the Animatrix. Okay, so
Animatrix. Okay, look at the numbers. What are the numbers on there? 7, 2, 1 dot before the 60, the top, 59. My birthday is July 2nd, 59. 7/2/59 is my birthday.
I love how it's your phone thing.
Now look at the red. Look at the red.
Your phone
line.
wallpaper. Yeah.
4 past the 4. I was 44 in 2003 when they shot this. So they put my age, which Wachowski's always mocked me for my age, saying I was old. So 44 is in red. That's how they did 44. Very clever. 7/2/59. How is that possible? When it's supposed to be in the industry, 10 after 10, the smiling hands.
Yeah.
That's copyright law. Just like 555 for the phone numbers.
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger said in Terminator, probably like 5556234. It's like, yeah, poor attempt. But yeah. But anyway, that's it. So there's my birthday, exact birthday on the clock. By the Wachowski stuck in, but that's not all, is it? That's an Animatrix. Now, what's really interesting is, and we'll go back to this other topic in a second that we were on. Matrix. What's the first graphic? The first graphic in the Matrix is from the interrogation scene. That's the first scene shot. And look at that scene where they open the green folder. What's interesting, Ryan, and people, is that Keanu Reeves doesn't know what to do. Look at it from that standpoint and understanding, that knowledge. Watch that scene when they open it. He doesn't know what to do. He's an actor going, and there's no ambience. I do films. You shoot the room ambience. You shoot the sound to create the picture too.
Yeah.
Nothing. You hear the camera roll.
Blank.
Why in that shot? Because the Wachowskis wanted to get their most important insert. When they said everything in the Matrix is by their doing only, every cell, this was in their divorce case, they said it. Right here. Look at the article from Smoking Gun. Every cell, you know if you can see it or not, every cell is from Andy and Larry solely. That is stuck into the Matrix. So here's the question. How does my high school end up in the Matrix? If Andy and Larry are the ones putting it in there. Central West High. How does my birthday end up in that same graphic, which was on records in 1996 and 99 as July 22nd. And then in 2003, it's corrected to July 2nd. So they fixed it in Animatrix in 2003, where they had it wrong in 1999 because the records were wrong in 1999. They put July 22nd, July 22nd in 1999 when the records showed July 22nd for me, which means they researched me, including my high school. And then in Animatrix 2003, they have to fix it and put it on a clock filling the screen. That graphic is expensive. And why is July 2nd, 1959 on the screen on a clock? Simply for these bastards' pleasure. To feel more clever than the author they stole from, whose work is not 8 pages of scribbled notes, but right here from the director and specialist copyright office, sealed and everything. Bolted. It's 128 pages, bastards. And I do feel the passion because what happened to my sons.
Tom, why didn't they, ultimately do you think they stole it from you and didn't keep you on board?
That's the thing. The Wachowskis were not the first pick. This is a complex question, but I'll answer it. It's a good question. They were not the first pick for stealing it. It was the lady Wasserman from the Heidi Chronicles. She was a playwright on Broadway, not a screenwriter. It's a big difference.
Huge difference.
And so what happens is it's a totally different style of writing.
Yeah, completely, yeah.
So the Warner Brothers actually had an entry at the Copyright Office. I have a copy of it. They struck. It said, Immortals, Army of Darkness, subtitle, 346 other titles, De Laurentiis. It says, Wendy Wasserman commissioned by Warner Brothers to write the Immortals. It wasn't even written. So she was being commissioned. She was their first pick, the Jewish writer who was successful, most successful Jewish writer, woman.
Surprise.
In history. That's who their first pick was. But the Wachowskis were screaming to be given the credit and were threatening because they were thrown out of the picture with assassins. Joel Silver got it from Bonaventura, who I pitched to, Bonaventura. Bonaventura had the screenplay, everything, and said he was putting it forward. It says revolutionary. Talked to Bonaventura directly. That's who got the screenplay from me. Bragged about it. Directly to Warner Bros. Exec. He has a penchant for discovering new talent, saving the careers of writers, too, that failed. There you go.
Which we discussed a little. Yeah, we discussed a little on the phone. The Wachowskis are on their last dying leg when they got your movie.
So what happened was they decided that Joel Silver was pushing for the Wachowskis to get it. Others in Warner Brothers, such as Bob, what's his name? He got a big China deal with like 20 films in China after he was ousted by Joel Silver and his prodigy Silverman.
And this is all in the later 90s-ish?
Yeah, no, this is actually not that long ago after when they're throwing my case.
Okay.
So what happens is, because Joel Silver hit the high road, as soon as the false case, like the case they were throwing was filed, he disappears, severs the relationship, 25 years with Warner Brothers, and then comes back after the case is securely thrown, right away, back. It's a stupid. They're so, and Mike Lang of Disney does the same thing. Look at the articles. Mike Lang, you don't see him much on the line because they want to hide him right now since he's so caught. And here's the best part, Ryan. Why do they want to hide Mike Lang of Disney? Eisner pointed, who was the head of Harvey Weinstein. Why are they not putting his name out there? Because, bam, Mike Lang is the handler of the honeypot wife that was provided me, Rebecca Northcutt, now going by Becca B. Lynn. So Disney provided a wife who was an ex-con, had been in jail for prostitution, among other things. And warrants were on her. So they provide her to be my wife, working for Mike Lang. And who does she run home to after the deed is done and the case is thrown and her record is expunged? All warrants erased just without any reason. Mike Lang.
No
what did we receive on my birthday for shock value? Emails from Mike Lang of Disney, Harvey Weinstein's boss, Eisner's prodigy, put in place for acquisition of intellectual property is title. Email from Mike Lang of Disney to Rebecca Northcutt. We have the email. What's the email say? It's great. It's juicy. Becca, her nickname. Becca, move in with me for 60 days, ? To his brand new mistress pad in Spokane, Washington. Mike Lang, you're an idiot. You're a freaking idiot. You can't outwit the writers and the truth tellers. You freaking idiots. Eisner, you're so stupid to appoint a thug like Mike Lang and Harvey Weinstein. Where's your brain?
They don't have any.
Eisner, your legacy is laid out before you, a golden road of garbage. You'll never be remembered as good.
They've been getting away with it for so long that they're so arrogant now.
You're so arrogant.
They're so arrogant. They don't even care. But now
it gets better.
Yeah.
It gets better. What do they do in response to us having the emails? It's all of a sudden on my birthday, it's email after email. It's just more than that to Becca. Promises of building a resort that she could be part of in Mount Zion National Park. Who has the money to do that? And why Mount Zion? Because Mount Zion is Becca's favorite park. Then Robertson has a Virginia Beach restaurant it opened in Virginia Beach. What's it called? 5-star restaurant? My Becca. Are these guys morons? They're idiots. Ryan.
Wow, man.
And it all goes back to, we hold this.
The truth.
Here's the key to everything changing. They all fall down with this. So what happens? Mike Lang's not happy. Eisner's not happy. Robertson's not happy. FBI's not happy. Fitzpatrick's not happy. Uh-oh. Tom's got the emails with Mike Lang showing pictures of his bed with a shaving kit on it, not fully moved into his mistress pad, which is the most expensive historic building in Spokane, Washington, playground of Hollywood. And he sends a picture also of the front of it with a big freaking L out front, shiny L out front of the building. Talk about an ego. Then a contact, which I record, calls me, and I get to ask questions. And I say, why would Mike Lang take Becca to bed on my birthday? Isn't that kind of stupid? And she goes, you have to understand, it was all about ego. Bang. Now Mike Lang has exposed the cartel because of his freaking ego. It gets better. I call Mike Lang, and he talks to me on the phone. Got him on tape. The fuck. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I feel it.
Sorry. But there's
okay.
a passion behind this because they're so stupid.
Definitely.
Rankin hands me the wrong recorder. And let's go just touch that upon, and then we'll go back to Mike Lang.
And there's no such thing as coincidence. That's fate. That's
God, it's great. It's great. It's great. So what happened? Let's go back, finish up this Mike Lang. I'm sorry, the recorder with Rankin. Rankin, the brain of a pea. I'm sorry, he really does. He's like, so Tom. That's how he talks.
Most of them. Yeah.
It's like they're fried brains. Too much drugs. Anyway, so what happens is Rankin hands the recorder, wrong one. On it, they have Linda Burrows saying, we are not going to give you any discovery. No discovery? No initial disclosures. What's that mean? No evidence. We're not going to give you anything, which means fraud in the court. This case has to be redone. They refuse to give any evidence. Why? She goes on to say, because we don't have any. We have no working drafts, so it's a moot point, quote, to ask for any discovery. Wait a minute. You just broke all the rules of the court. That means it's fraud. Our case is not done. No, we did not lose our case yet, and I'm passionate about it. No, we did not have a case in court yet. It was all fraud, but we will have a case because we got the evidence, Warner Brothers, Mike Lang, Robertson, FBI. So what happens is they admitted they had nothing. How can you have written The Matrix if you had no working drafts? And now we're coming out on Matrix 4 where they're now admitting this other writer under them, this Teague guy or something, who was actually part of this to fake it with the Wachowskis. They made it up as they went along. And that goes back to the fight choreographer head that contacted me and said, your script, they hate when I do this, your script was used on set. They made it up as they went along. This was in one hand. And what's in the others, Ryan? The other hand. The storyboard, the famous 600-page storyboard where they lifted every image they thought was cool out of here. These tabs, Jack's the neck, which they want to do for real, they said. Little girl at the train station. The whole identical figures at the end. Zion, the underground. Everything's here. Everything's here.
So you're telling they basically took your one story and broke it into 3 or 4? That's what they tried.
By using a storyboard.
Yeah.
Wachowskis were too lazy to write it down. In fact, when they threw our case, each of the defendants wanted to do their take on my work because they keep saying in articles they want to use up the rest of the story. If you wrote it, you're not going to worry about using up the rest of the story. And then you're not going to say on set in 2003, Joel Silver says to the media, on set, We're about to watch the rushes. We hope it'll tie together. If you wrote the script and had it actually in hand and checked and everything with union people on set shooting it, then you know it's going to tie together. If the suits are going to bankroll it at the studios, you know it's going to tie together. You're not going to go, we hope it'll tie together. Then they say, their attorneys say, it was written all together in 93, one seamless piece. But Wachowski's and Joel Silver is saying it was meant to be 3 different styles and 3 different films. Because they can't tie together, the morons. Yeah. I cannot wait for a fair day in court if our judicial system actually gets changed around. Or I have to go to another country to do it where I actually have a fair day in court. Because you're not going to get it in this country.
No, well, not
what they
right
do is
now.
They replace the judge with the judge they want and they block all your evidence.
Yeah, which a more famous case I've been following as well. Same thing happened. They just put it out. The judge literally retired, gave it to a new young judge, and she's like, "Nope, you're guilty."
In-house.
It's
That's
sick,
the policy,
man.
Right, and then MSJs.
So
they're actually claiming that. Remember I said about the high school? I said about my high school. Check it out. Check the first graphic. Freeze frame it. They can't get rid of that evidence, can they? They can't steal that one away.
And there's
no
such thing as coincidence. No such thing as coincidence, Tom. They're doing
and then
that
they
to punk
stack
you.
it. Their graphic designer Susanna Bolgen says their own graphic designer said in their article, and we have a copy of the article they tried to get rid of. We have says they stack entries in order to get by the the clearance department. They have a clearance department, so they got a department who's supposed to check to make sure nothing will infringe copyright law, including even the name John Smith. So what they're doing is they're checking all these things. So they stack entries, Susanna says, the Wachowski stack entries and Warner Bros. Stack entries to get by the clearance department. So what's in there? Central West High changed to Central West Junior High. Is that a big switch?
No.
Yeah.
No,
That's still Central West High, attorneys.
Let me go back to... Go ahead.
Yeah, but there's more. They have July 22nd, which was my wrong birthday, but was on records as my birthday in 96.
That's right.
Right? And then they also have my dad's name, John A. My dad, John A., as Neo's dad. And it gets better. They also have in the column of that first graphic, freeze frame the first graphic when they open the folder.
Okay.
TA, bold letters in the column and numbers. TA 4099. Larry Wachowski kept wanting to mock me about my age, saying I was old guy. So TA, Thomas Althouse, was 40 in 99.
Jeez.
And so why did they do this? Larry wanted to rub it home.
These people
7-2-59, but Larry can't stop there. 4 past the 4, 44 in 2003.
These people.
Yeah, Larry, so what? I don't care. I don't care what age I am. I wrote the frickin' thing and you didn't. And you know it. And the reason you're wearing a skirt is because they're making you pay up. Because you stuck the stuff in the films.
It's sick.
So it's like
man.
It goes on and on.
It is demonic, Tom. It's a sick, twisted, occult, nasty.
Yeah.
It's a big,
Remember I told you about
club, and you ain't in it, man.
Oh yeah. Well, they want me in it under their terms.
Okay.
I'm getting offers all the time saying, you come, give up your Immortals claim, Matrix claim, and you'll be a script doctor and write with our team, but you won't get credit for your work. And you'll be well off. You can have the house, the boat.
And this is repeatedly what we hear when the crossover to the occult, whatever you have to do, the unwritten contract you sign is as soon as you say yes, okay, that's it. Your soul's been sold. But it's not out in the open. It's almost like it's like I said, like kind of like an unwritten law. But you aren't the only one to claim this. You aren't the only one to claim this. But they approach them and they keep approaching. Your life could be fabulous, this and that. Like for example, possibly your sister. She probably sold out and took.
She sold out.
Took the bait.
Yeah.
So, but let me kind of recapture this though. Why in the beginning when they got your story, were you supposed to stay a part of it, or they just completely steal it? Why did they not keep you a part of it?
Pat Robertson. What I did was I whispered through art the missing part of the Matrix that they never put into these other ripoff stories too, like Elysium, Sense8, Oblivion by Joel Silver.
So there's other movies you think based off.
Oh yeah, yeah. They put even my brother and sister's name in there to reward them. Julie and Jack as the head leads in Oblivion. Who held Oblivion for Joel Silver? Disney. And in it, you got the Jack's the neck, little girl pointing at the son, the father at the end. You got the identical figures facing off. Joel Silver wanted to use up the story his way after the case was thrown. He got that as soon as the case was thrown. And then the Wachowskis announced Sense8 as soon as the case was thrown. They liked the idea of the shared memories between Neo and Smith, which is mine. and how mine had to use the memories, what Dylan Shore was looking for, to find the cortex building, then the dome. Yeah, I have the dome. So what's going on is all this is just, right there. And you got these guys saying they're fans of your work. Not the Wachowskis, though. Wachowskis hate me.
Yeah.
The insider from Warner Bros. Called me and told me where I'd find all these inserts. He said,
Oh,
they hate you.
wow.
They don't understand
Wow.
your work. Yeah, so it was insider call me. I would never have found my high school in the first graphic unless you
Wow.
told me where to look.
So you actually got told by somebody
Yeah,
that this was
yeah,
in there.
yeah.
So you had a beef with Pat and he was like, didn't like you?
Well, Pat Robertson was running for president in 1988, and I got absorbed into his sex ring. So one of his main guys was Dr. Sova, who's now at Liberty University.
The hole keeps going deeper, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I wrote the frickin' screenplay. To try to reunite my family. It was taken from me, reprogrammed by Robertson's group, because Robertson says I caused him to lose his presidential campaign and was being groomed to be the face of the Christian coalition, would have rewards and honors. And so since I got approached by Sova on his RV up at Cherry Hill, Washington, D.C., and his sex ring, and told that if I didn't comply, I would lose everything.
And that's how they use it as blackmail and stuff.
So Robertson couldn't have that. If you're a victim of Robertson's sex ring, Robertson doesn't ask questions. He destroys your life. He doesn't want the chance of being caught with his sex ring. He's ahead of it.
Well, we're starting to see it more come out in the open. So again, hopefully there's light at the tunnel. Now, I wanna talk about something too that you hit in that interview that I was listening to, and this is big. Is we're starting. I honestly think Hollywood's on its last dying leg. If not,
Oh yeah,
it's dead now.
I'm still alive, and many of us like
Yeah,
it.
it's more of transit. We're seeing it transition now. The power or the baton is being passed to the YouTube and the Netflix and the streaming kind of stuff. But what you had mentioned in that interview, and it was so mind blowing, is what we're seeing is all these companies that had their hands in all these honeypots in Hollywood, right? And even porn stuff, Disney, is we're seeing all these companies be sold back to the main distributors, if you will.
Good job. Yes, exactly. Disney is what's happening is MGM. What they do, a money deal. I think it was MGM. That was
Yeah,
like
you were saying like in
half,
12 seconds, it was like a half
seconds,
cat.
yeah, in minutes, yeah. And that's going back, like you said, you hit it in the nail. They're all selling back to Disney because Disney's the one that started this idea of ripping off the copyright process and the authors and getting their work and taking it all. And they're the ones that actually started going against copyright law with the whole Mickey Mouse thing. They didn't want to lose their rights to Mickey Mouse. Legitimately, they should have lost their rights to Mickey Mouse to the whole domain as copyright law was designated to do. But instead, they forced it through, which shows they just cued me in. They're insides with the Copyright Office. They can do whatever they want. They still have the rights to Mickey Mouse. So what they did was they went further. So we got away with that. How can we capitalize off of all intellectual property we want, which they call their library, in that New Jersey warehouse? All those hard copies of those poor souls, writers, hard work, sitting in a warehouse for Mike freaking Lang, Harvey Weinstein, and Michael Eisner to capitalize off with all the other studios. So they were the shareholders for all the other studios. That's why the multiple titles under Immortals with a slot, the Copyright Office, no body of work. Insider creates slots. When the author is dead, supposed to be from despair, from losing his sons, having his daughter turned on him, reprogrammed, family bought,
family turned
losing
on him.
everything. The reason they buy off family and give them such outrageous awards, and they brag about it, they're so stupid. My cousin Todd, sporting Armani, Boss. The day after he betrays me to my sister and Fitzpatrick and Warner Brothers, he is getting model shots of Boss and Armani and saying he's getting special slots at the Supreme Court, all these awards. He's bragging about it. My brother Jack, who is a pedophile, he takes those voyeuristic pictures, and he's like cliche. He takes these youth trips with his church. Why do they allow him to do it? I don't know. He takes these underage girls, takes pictures of them underwater in their bikinis, voyeuristic shots through the mirrors backwards of them all the time.
Sick,
and so he's taking he's a voyeuristic pedophile. And so what happens is Disney is the one sponsoring him. He's so bad at what he does as an architect that he doesn't get any work. And he's got these lawsuits pending, he says. He even tells my parents. So he's begging for money from my parents for his summer home in Cape Cod. And also what happens is Disney, he says, is the only one giving him work for small little bone jobs at Sheraton and Disney World. So Disney is sponsoring my sold out brother, who actually is related to Spielberg's Ben Burt. His wife is cousins to Ben Burt, Spielberg's number one man. So you've got a whole system where it's so clear, and that's why they're screaming so hard. Their number one card they play is that they're the victim. They destroy you. Quote, they say, the context say they're going to destroy you, which now I know what that means, but we're not going to go down, by getting your family, because you can't sue your family. So the family can do everything wrong, including my unlicensed sister, who calls the police, the 302, does whatever Fitzpatrick wants her to do, and gets the rewards for it off the charts. She's so drunk on them now. Spray on tans, maid service, trips to London, Caribbean, Jimmy Fallon show, CNN owned by Warner Brothers appearances, spokesperson for Sandy Hook all over national.
It's so sick.
And goes black tie dinners on the floor of Congress, as honored as a basically national treasure by Fitzpatrick. And that's my sister, who has the brain of a pea.
But which is exactly what they want.
That's what they want.
They want a pawn. And
they want a pawn.
It's sad because the people,
and they want family to do it. That goes right back to Jimmy Carter.
The people with the biggest money, Tom, have the least soul and are the most sickest sometimes. Yeah. It's sad, man. It is a sad day, but I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful because it does, again, it feels like we are in a time where we're becoming more aware. There's people that are starting to realize what is really going on behind scenes. It's just we've let them, if you will, they've got such a huge head start on us, and so we have a lot of catching up to do.
They got the money, they got the power, they got the personnel, they got the sellouts, and they got the FBI, they got Secret Service, they got all of it. And the question is, who controls who? When I get these offers, these contract offers to come in and not claim my work, which is done over and over, like Terry Blinner from Disney came in, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and she was telling me, Tom, you're going to work for me specifically, San Francisco, New York, London. You're going to be my writer along with another one, and just don't claim the Immortals. Just don't claim the Matrix case, and we'll get your domestics on Broadway. And she got even green-lighted for off-Broadway. My play that I have that I love, my period piece. So the thing is, that's what they do. But they always throw in that caveat. Don't claim your work.
They just want you to let it go, huh?
They want you to let it go. Yeah. And then you become part of their team. I'm called their star player on the bench. That's what the contact, well, honeypot wife, they replaced the other honeypot wife, called me and told me that she was programmed where? University of Berkeley. University of Berkeley, where these attorneys came from. University of Berkeley also does altercating on kids. So University of Berkeley should be removed.
It's a sign.
If you're alumni of University of Berkeley, you should hang your head in shame. They are part of the darkest, what's happening in our world is the University of Berkeley. They are a sellout organization, shouldn't exist as an institution, including the University of Southern California. Shame on you, University of Southern California. I was being given treats through University of Southern California to be a Hollywood star and writer. That was being groomed through University of Southern California, who also came from University of Southern California. Sophia Stewart. Sophia Stewart is the in-house witch, according to her handle, number one, for Warner Brothers. She's also who worked with Rankin. So you've got all these things very tight and connected, which they consider under the art of war, win your battles before you fight them, have a small contingent that's tight. It goes on and on. You will not believe how far it goes. When we talk later, if you want to do another one sometime, Ralph Rios. Ralph Rios of Pasadena. Ralph Rios, the firm that was also classmates with Burrow and Rankin, was the handoff firm through Frank Ayala. Frank Ayala in the records department office, copyright office, records department of the Central Court, Hollywood, Western Division. Who's the one that talks to me on the phone and says, you got to go with Rios when I'm trying to fire Rankin. What's Rankin's last job before he's removed? Rankin does this. We tell him you're fired. You can't do that. Within half an hour after being fired legitimately, with a letter and everything, Rankin gets on the phone to Warner Bros. Said, you may proceed with a motion for summary judgment without objection. You're fired, buddy. You can't tell them they can proceed without objection. That means we don't have any way to do it. That's how they treat the case. That's why when people handlers are, when you see these anonymouses or trolls going, he lost his case. Check the facts.
Yeah.
We didn't lose our case. It was all fraud. And that fraud is going to allow us to have an actual case. So shove that back in the mouth. I'm tired of hearing that. That's their main go-to talking point. They say the ends justify the means. There was no case. It was all fraud. It was all bought, placed, sealed, and delivered, and they bragged about it.
At the end of the day, Tom, is what they want you to do is lie and say it wasn't yours, and you like. That's why I was so gravitated to your story, because you've been saying the same thing for 20 plus years. I don't think you're lying, and there's no reason for you to make this up and take on one of the biggest industries in the freaking world, man.
Well, that's the thing too, Ryan. You just hit something really hard. I mean, important for me. Sophia Stewart will call me all the time. She'll call me all the time. When they do a big move, she'll call me and try to rub it in. She actually mocks, not record her often. And so one of the ones she was saying was, you killed your sons. You killed your sons because you're part of a cult. See, that's the thing. If I was lying, if I was trying to get away with this, and she's saying you tried to get money by working with Wachowskis. If I was doing that, why would my sons be dead? Wouldn't it be part of the deal be my sons are alive? So what they did was made a mistake. If a father actually has compassion, which they're calling me a bad father, right? Take away your jobs, take away everything you can, education, take it all away and call you a bad father. Nice sting. No, I'm a good father. My son is an high honor student taking high honor classes. He is an A student. He is thriving, even though he's cut off from the entire family. No cousins are allowed to talk to him. Otherwise, Julie, Jack, and Todd might lose their awards. So no one's allowed to talk to him. And I'm considered, quote, nephew told me, 2 nephews told me, worse than Satan himself. That's what they say. So watch the trolls do their play.
When their parents are working for Satan.
Yep, that's what they do. So poor Aiden is held in there amazing and done the most amazing stuff. And he's such a trooper. He's like, Dad, if anything happens to me, you keep going. You keep going. So if you go to redpillrising.org, you'll see the video he made. What does Sophia Stewart say? He didn't make it. Really? And now Warner Bros. Is trying to say, your son doesn't exist, never did exist. Well, that's kind of chilling because they erased your records. Why was my birthday July 22nd in 1996 records? Well, because I submitted in 1993, they were trying to erase me. So Wachowskis are mocking me in that entry of July 22nd.
That's what was on
they're
record.
Trying to, throw in the false one as if I never existed. See? And they did the same thing to me. So my social security number disappeared. Everything was disappearing. And so that's why they put July 22nd in there. The last remaining thread of me on record, and that's what the USA insurance company told me, was I was erased. I'd reinstate everything again. So that way, what's Mike Lang's strategy? Destroy the author, destroy his life. And when he's dead, either through despair or claiming suicide, because obviously he was despair, so he must have committed suicide. What did my sister say when she called me after 2 years of silence when she was bought by Fitzpatrick and my son had just been murdered? Why did she pick the day my son was killed? To tell me this. And I'm like this. I'm the brother going, oh my God, Julie, I'm so glad you called. What did she tell me, Ryan? She's as cold as ice going, Tom, you have to say you're angry, bipolar, and suicidal. Repeat that back to me. Why? Because that's what they want. She's a whorehound for news. So if I said that to her, she'd get on the news later and say, well, my brother said, do I look okay? My brother said that he was, this is great, angry, bipolar, and suicidal. Oh, look at me, flashing cameras. That's my sister. She's a bastard. She became a bastard. She was the one at her wedding, danced with me and said, played Wind Beneath My Wings and said, Tom, in tears, if it wasn't you, I wouldn't be alive. It wasn't for you. What changed? I didn't change, but she sure did.
Yeah.
And she got drunk on the rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Now she says she's all about power and success. She became a monster for the elite.
And that's just it, Tom. You were hitting it hard in the interview I listened to. Is there's no emotion, there's no sad, there's no happy, there's no angry. There's
no remorse.
One thing they want, and what it's power, right?
And that's the thing. You're right, Ryan. And one thing you just hit on the head. When I said to her, I brought forward the diagnosis. I got a diagnosis done just so that I'm not these things that they're claiming over there. And I showed it to my sister. Mm-hmm. Instead of her going like, "Oh my God, this is great, Tom,"
showing compassion.
She didn't. She says I faked it, threw a fit, blew up in a manic rage. I can't, no, and saying things like, "Everybody loves me, nobody hates me, no Joe." What the hell? So she became this unhinged monster, claiming that I was bipolar, suicidal, and dangerous. She's suicidal. I can see it. My brother wrote a suicide note, the one that's with Disney, to try to get money out of my parents, and I have it. And so what's interesting is you've got this situation where they are dead on saying it's all about power. And the one thing they can't handle is the thought that anybody might laugh at them or mock them or the truth being revealed. They rage. That's how you can tell. It's unbelievable.
In a world gone mad, Tom, normal is looked at as crazy and crazy is looked at as normal, man. And
in Avatar, they put it, Ryan. They put it in Avatar. They said, again, they stick it in their own films. Frank Ayala, I told you about at the court that they, was a handler to get me to Ralph Rios. He's listed on his LinkedIn. Look up Frank Ayala, Ayala. He's listed as litigation support, sponsored as litigation support for Warner Brothers. That's the guy sending me to Ralph Rios, the handoff for him to throw my case. Ralph Rios is related to Jacob Rios, who just married my daughter. Handled my daughter.
It's all
Miriam
interconnected.
Espinoza, but one more. Miriam Espinoza, the paralegal for Ralph Rios, who Frank Alla sponsored for litigation support by Warner Brothers, sent me to Ralph Rios. Miriam Espinoza, his paralegal, is related to Lenny Coco, a relative, who was the one Pat Robertson had me talk to for Bonaventura. Best friends with Bonaventura to make sure my work got to Bonaventura.
It's a spider web.
It's a spider web.
It's a spider web. It's
never supposed to
it's a giant psyop, is what it feels like.
Exactly, because it's worth billions. So now they're racing Matrix 4.
And it's still working, unfortunately.
They're racing Matrix 4. Matrix 4 is going to come out with the Wachowskis. Look at that interview with Bound with the Wachowskis and see how they talk. Is that a genius? Are they geniuses?
Dope.
I mean, look at that interview with Bound online still with Wachowski, Larry Wachowski as a dude, saying, we have a symbiotic relationship. And and then you got Andy, who doesn't want to be a woman. Any woman would know that if you put the makeup on, look nice if you're going to be a lady. No, he's got a slapped on wig like the assassin from James Bond with the poker dressed as a widow. And you got like this thing where he's wearing this black dress like they're making that scene. And he's saying, yeah, we got people on set that think they want to input. And you guys can't even crap out a story.
I heard you slightly mention as well, like some of that. You think Keanu knows?
Keanu knows totally. He's part of the franchise. That's what the sad thing was. I have direct contacts from London that are his friend that came to me and saying that Keanu Reeves may want to work with you on this and maybe want to do your story. He wants to do the right thing now. I thought, great. Okay, I'm open to that. That'd be great for him to play the real role, right? And what happens is then we find out that no, Keanu Reeves is not going to do that. He is a frat boy. That his friend described him as a frat boy. He doesn't care about the world. He cares about partying and drugs and having a good time. So they create this image. The more PR is put on a Hollywood person, the more the suits are grooming him for a purpose.
The handlers.
It's not, all that PR given to Keanu Reeves is off the charts. And that's especially with young people. They're looking for the long term. So you got SpongeBob trailer with Keanu Reeves popping out in real flesh.
Wow.
And SpongeBob. That means they're indoctrinating the kids to see Keanu Reeves as the good guy. Then they do this thing after the case is thrown. They say Keanu Reeves, greatest charity in the world. He gives millions to the people, the crew on set, and also Harley Davidsons to all the stuntmen. Interesting that the stuntmen coordinator is the one that came to me and said your script was used on set. Keanu Reeves is not doing charity. He's not going to the homeless in California. He's going to union wage crew people and giving them millions of dollars. Where's he getting all that millions? Everybody became millionaires overnight, they said. That's charity? No, that's money laundering. That's payoffs.
Yep.
So the money goes to Keanu Reeves to give to him to help his image. The suits are the ones that insisted Keanu Reeves be Neo. It wasn't the Wachowskis. It was the suits. Will Smith was supposed to be Neo, according to the Wachowskis.
Right, yeah.
Not Keanu Reeves. But the suit said you have to use Keanu Reeves. You're going to steal this work, you got to use Keanu Reeves. Right?
They're grooming the youth. They're grooming the youth to get comfortable with them for a purpose later on, probably. Obviously.
That's right. To keep this myth going, the youth will go, no, Keanu Reeves wouldn't do anything wrong. Keanu Reeves is our hero. He's a great guy.
Oh my God.
And then they got Keanu Reeves. I'm going to play that back on them what Larry's doing to me. You got this old guy, Keanu Reeves, on a motorcycle with aging, what's her name, Moss, riding around. Is that interesting to youth?
No.
Old guys on a motorcycle. That's a joke. That's not exciting. And they keep showing the previews. They kept showing the scenes of the old guy on the motorcycle. And the friend of Keanu Reeves even said that they had to build a special motorcycle because the guy's crippled, basically. He's an aged guy. He's got a spine that won't ride a regular motorcycle. So they had to make one for him to fit him. It's like, it's not just a motorcycle. It's like a wheelchair motorcycle. It's not exciting. I mean, come on, guys. You lost. And then I got contacts, like I said, calling me, I said in other times, where they're saying you've won the chess game. This cannot be denied. Even though Rankin and his team stripped all the evidence they could away, we ordered this and we got it. And we do have originals copies from 1996, even though they tried to get rid of all our stuff. And let me just show you this. Here's what you're most afraid of. Anthony Rankin, suspended license.
Ooh.
Suspended license. Suspended license.
UC Berkeley.
So they send me a suspended license for Anthony Rankin, Bar Association. Why? You lost from the very beginning. You got a suspended licensed attorney. It's over. You lost. And what they do? he ran out the clock on serving the defendants, right? So we've lost there. But what does Warner Brothers do? They stipulate, do a special emergency motion, stipulate to reinstate Rankin's license. First of all, it's rejected first. Then Linda Burrows, they've already won. Why are they? And then they do this, Ryan. They stipulate that we could go ahead and sue. Why? You won. You threw our case.
Yeah.
But they did. They stipulated to serve them. Why? Why would Joel Silver allow that and Wachowski's allow it? So they can get all our evidence, alter it, change it, strip it, throw the case, and make sure they collect everything and get fees from me. The nuisance settlement they said they were going to put forward was this. But when Rankin went so far, they didn't stop. That I would give up all my rights to my screenplay to them, everything, all my copyright rights, and wouldn't get court fees on me. That was the ploy. Then they didn't even want that. Remember Rankin said I think Rankin said he talked to our expert witness? Mm-hmm. He didn't, he lied. He said the expert witness, the submitting attorney, James Boyd, said he had nothing. I talked to James Boyd. I didn't believe him, so I talked to James Boyd. He had everything. Sent us an affidavit. Yes, I submitted everything in 1993, June 25th. Here's the letterhead. Here's the submission. Here's the receipt. Here's the tracking number. Here's the materials. And what's amazing, Ryan, is he had the script and the story treatment. Now, the poor man's packet was altered, right? Warner Bros. Thought they had the bone with that one. They thought we altered the packet. We're going to slam it down. And they used that for summary judgment. All we had was 8 pages of scribbled notes. Well, guess what? James Boyd's submission predates the poor man's packet. So if James Boyd submitted a full script in June 25th, 1993, how come later in July or August 93, we have a poor man's packet with 8 pages of scribbled notes? Am I that stupid? Am I going to go through the trouble making a poor man's packet of scribbled notes when James Boyd sent a full script and a full story treatment, predating it? They lost. It's fraud. And now they're caught with criminal activity, altering evidence, and doing it jointly. Conspiracy. You guys are fried. Linda Burrows, look at her site. She bragged. She bragged about winning the biggest case, Warner Brothers. What? Against the guy who had a sold out attorney in her pocket? And they used the words in the pocket. Linda Burrow, egg on the face, monster. And the two others with her, Arwen Johnson. And this is great. The main baddie isn't named Smith in the Immortals. The main baddie is Kurt Berenger. So you talked about fate. Guess what? Okay, his name is the other attorney, the other third attorney. I'm blowing this here. Kurt Berenger, Kurt Bessinger. So the other attorney for the three on them is Kurt Bessinger. So you got Linda Burrow, Arwen Johnson, Kurt Bessinger, and my Smith character was Kurt Berenger. What's going on? What's going on? Fate? That's amazing, because also Rankin argues that no firm wastes multiple attorneys on a frivolous case. But in this case, Warner Brothers has all the money, so they can go ahead and afford three attorneys. No, they wouldn't, unless it's a major concern of theirs. Mm-hmm. And Sophia Stewart, in-house, Nicholas says, or number one.
Like ultimately, this is something that what seems like it would just got settled outside of court, and they would have just paid you and shut you up.
That's what should have been. That's why they supplied their own attorneys. See, that way they get your evidence, they destroy your life, they talk away witnesses, they reward others to turn my expert witness.
So literally, Tom, the cancel culture was coming after you in the early 2000s already.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the other thing, really interesting too, is besides James Boyd coming forward, and Greg Mazer came forward too, the guy I wrote with, who worked for the Hallmark Channel and everything, and did a whole testimony too, that he remembers having the full script in 93, and he had the floppy disks of the full script time-stamped in 93. So when they went to switch this out to 96, because Matrix doesn't have a title to 1996, right, on first draft, because the Wachowskis weren't giving it to Steele yet. They wanted Wasserman. So and also it wasn't supposed to be Matrix. It was supposed to be one of those many titles, right, from the Copyright Office.
Right.
It was supposed to be one of the many titles. I'm going to show you right now. One of these. One of those 344 titles here. Immortals, subtitles. Look who's claiming ownership. Oh, De Laurentiis.
Productions.
Paradise Films.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Where did we see that guy before? Right here. Assassins. Larry Wachowski, Andy Wachowski. Oh, Paradise Films, De Laurentiis, same guys.
It's a big club and you ain't in it.
You ain't in it. Well, I am now.
Yeah,
Now I'm
you
their
are.
star player on the bench.
You're the thorn in their butt now.
And I got 14 other screenplays, Ryan. So they have an argument. I recorded you idiots, Warner Brothers, Disney, idiots, Eisner, Robertson, FBI, idiots, idiots, idiots. I recorded you. So what happens is they're calling saying, how do we know you have any other more screenplays? That you're not just, they even say on the tape that you're just not a 2-hit wonder. Their attorney contact saying that in Disney, right? I'm like, what do you think? I sat idle all this time. I write something like The Immortals and Matrix, and I'm just going to sit for all these decades. I have 14 more, bastards, 14 more. Then I'm saying, if anything happens to my son or a loved one, I'm destroying those. You know what they're saying? You can't do that.
They want them from you, obviously,
Yeah.
huh?
You can't do that, they said. So more than human life is the screenplays. More than a child's life is the screenplays.
Money.
They don't
Power.
value U.S. citizens or the world's citizens. They value the money and power, and they think I hold it instead I've won the chess game. So right here, if I disappear, Ryan, it wasn't by suicide. I would never do that. Never. In fact, when I wrote a page on Facebook, which is owned by them, but I was writing down that I would never commit suicide, never ever do it, too much to live for. I got all this going for me and for my children, surviving son. And I wrote all that and said even my sister's going to push that I am suicidal. I am not. My sister uses that entry, Fitzpatrick uses that entry that says I'm not, pointing her out, to say that I am, to call Secret Service police on me to put me away as suicidal. What?
Disgusting.
Then the bonehead, Julia Zarco, I'll just say it, gets on there on my Facebook and writes, I didn't call the police. I never did. Next paragraph in the same spiel of blather says, what I did do, called the police on that state. Is there a brain in her head, or is it all fried out?
No, it's fried. Fried.
It's like Wachowski's, watching Wachowski's. You know, watch these guys. Watch Rankin from Maui talk.
Well, I hate to bring it up, but I mean, I have to. It's just, it's the same concept, man. Like, the current administration that's in the office right now, Kamala, the vice president, really just recently did like an interview about like space and things like this, and I'll tie it in. But basically, they had to hire kid actors, and she has to sit there and lie about what she did as a child to the American people when these people are supposed to represent us. They're supposed to represent you or I, and they are soulless, Tom.
They're soulless.
They're
soulless.
soulless.
All about reward and power. You know what they do it for? They say everybody is like them. Everybody has their price. And that's their justification for doing it. Anyone else would do it. I better do it first. But what's in it for me? That's what they always say. No, it is not true. There are those of us that actually get a rush out of being truthful, honest, compassionate, and doing the right thing. It's cooler to do that. And once the public catches on that it's not cool to be like them, Oceans, whatever, it's not cool to be like them and take and get away with it like they brag. It's cooler to actually be a heroes. Many of us are heroes that have stood with courage. They don't have courage in their bodies. My sister, brother, cousin don't have an ounce of courage, no backbone. They'll take whatever can be handed to them. Now, the FBI is now saying, we only go after those that go after us. Then what are you in business for? What are you in business for?
Then why are you standing in school board meetings now calling moms terrorists? This is out of control, Tom. This is where we're at.
But if I have a bodyguard, would I want that bodyguard to say, hey, Tom, I'm going to work for you, but I'll only go after those who go after me? Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, that's a great service. Thanks a lot for protecting us, our citizens of this country. We're only going to go after those who go after us. Thank you, FBI. Why don't you go join a nursery school and leave us? We don't need you. You're in the way. And why is the FBI operating on foreign soil? We're not supposed to. In fact, when I wrote the screenplay, Ryan, I was going to make it the FBI. Did you know Neo is actually supposed to be a lower echelon department head of the FBI?
Wow.
And then I realized that they cannot work overseas, so I changed it to CIA. And now the FBI is working overseas. They're doing exactly what the Neo is doing. And what does the Neo do like me? I was being courted by the FBI. I have a card that says, please extend every courtesy to Tom Althouse, because I did America's Most Wanted during the season premiere when I was at Robertson's place to catch Robert Witt. Look it up. Robert Witt, played by Thomas Alhouse. And that gave me a card and dinner with FBI heads. They said, we're a fan of you, Tom. You know, keep going. And that's when I was writing the Matrix story. So if I have this card, extend every courtesy, look how that changed. I didn't change. I'm getting a lot more passionate and louder now. And am I angry? They accuse me of being angry, bipolar, and suicidal. I'm not suicidal by any means, never will be. My sister will be, my brother will be, my cousin in time, yeah, absolutely. They're depressed all the time. She has severe depression. And my brother is talking about suicide. So, I mean, he wants all the rewards. He's getting bones from Disney, not even the courtesy to even big rewards, like my sister's
But
getting.
he's empty on the inside.
Empty inside. He's vapor. We call him vapor. And so what happens is, here we are getting all this stuff, like all this criminal stuff being thrown at us by family members and not invited to any activities at all. Now the move right now by my brother and my sister, who handles my brother now for Fitzpatrick, is to go to my parents unannounced, who are elderly, and push forward to gather all the family together except Aiden and I. So that will isolate us finally and during the racing process, and then we're supposed to be removed. I am not suicidal. I will never take my life, ever. There's too much to live for and too many good people out there. And I'm gonna sit down with many people and celebrate when the real film is made. And when this real film is made, like I said, Ryan, the game is over. They're right. Their contacts are right. It's over. They don't have this. And the more we show it in interviews. But if you go to my site, like we said, look at redpillrising.org. Look how many interviews are struck.
I
If they're going
saw
to spend
that.
that much time striking interviews, then they are definitely concerned about it, aren't they?
Yes.
Sophia Stewart, now with me, TMZ owned by Warner Brothers, same attorney, Linda Burrow, who's now with Netflix also. She does the article with Wachowski's faces saying, Tom Althouse, you're nothing but a know-nothing hack, famous for nothing. And then said that, didn't respond to calls. I didn't get called. But what about Sophia Stewart? Why didn't they launch on her when she lost her case? She actually legitimately lost her case because he was part of Warner Brothers. But then they let her get away with this malpractice case thing where they don't show up to contest it so she can save face. Now Matrix 4 is coming out and she claims she has a Matrix 4 trademark, but where's Sophia Stewart? So they have to replace her. Now, instead of Sophia Stewart being the one to harass me, they have a new guy from Marvel Comics that was there in the very beginning for Cypher Man. No matchups because the Wachowskis in-house with Warner Brothers and Marvel Comics was supposed to steal the work first through comic books. And that's exactly what happened to the Batman family, the Fingers family. It was the paparazzi that told me to look at the Batman's story documentary, which changed everything. So we got the documentary coming forward, and also we got the truth if we make the film. But the thing is that Sophia Stewart, they wouldn't touch. Now I got a Paul Anderson who first came to me, and they're touting him as the guy that actually was stolen from in-house. Well, keep in mind, these are all in-house people. Paul Anderson, Sophia Stewart, they're all in-house. You don't steal from in-house. They're gonna groom those guys. And so they're supposed to be plausible claimants. So Sophia Stewart's out and Paul's in. So I have email, message from Paul Anderson.
So they're just playing Russian roulette with the people coming after you,
That's
basically.
right. That's right. And at first they go, you're it. You're the missing link. You're it. Sophia Stewart did that with me. Paul Anderson came with me and said, yeah, your stuff was stolen. I was there. You were stolen. Yeah, I was there. Your stuff was taken. Now he's spinning it into, oh, I had all the matchups, Jack the neck and everything. I did that. No, you didn't. Have it right here, buddy. It's all right here. Everything he lists as matchups is not so. So now he's contacting people who interview and saying, I'm the one that was taken from, not Tom. What? And now he wants to contract with me to work with him to write a Cypher Man Immortals blend? No, Paul, not happening. You're simply a handler.
Yeah. Now, well, fortunately, you're starting to see it now. You've been probably trampled over so many times. You're starting to see you can't trust anyone but yourself for the most part,
Yeah, just right.
And Tom, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, but just from talking to you, you're not angry, crazy, suicidal. You're fucking passionate, man. You're passionate, and you've been saying the same thing for 20 plus years. So whether you're right or wrong, or you believe the story, or people believe your story or not, that in my opinion, there's no reason for you to want to take on one of the biggest elite companies in the world just to say they stole your story to try and get notoriety, ruin your family, ruin your reputation for no reason, man. What would that do?
No, what would that do? Absolutely right. No, it wouldn't do a thing. So here we are. It's like what I'm doing too, Ryan, is I'm trying to do this for a future family, future loved ones, and for the world.
That's perfect.
We've got to show it. We're not going to evolve as humanity unless we show compassion for each other. And their policy is to say that we all are out for ourselves. Look at their films, what they're saying in Game of Thrones and everything else. They're saying that we're all out for ourselves. And remember you said about that July 2nd thing we were talking about? I just watched a series last night, even the foreign films under Netflix, all the Netflix original films, Black Sails, you name it, they're showing the watches are on 7/2. It's now standard industry to have my birthday on the watches. So every film, even Ratatouille, even their cartoons, Ratatouille. Remember that home one with a fun alien from the guy from what's it called, the nerd one. Anyway, that has 7.2 on the watch also on the cartoon characters. So it's all 7.2 now. The joke in the industry is use 7.2. It's common knowledge throughout the studios that I was taken from. All of them, even Quentin, the stuntman, did a search through Warner Bros. Said everybody knows your name. Everybody knows you're not supposed to talk about you.
What?
It's all common knowledge. So you got a whole industry that knows that I was taken from, and there's no denying it, is there? There's just no denying it. So yeah, there's no denying it.
Tom, you're the freaking man. I appreciate you so much. I have a couple last final questions for
Me
you,
too.
and then I would love to do this again, man, in a
Let's do
couple
it.
months. We'll
Let's
do
do
it
it. This is
like,
my lifeline.
I,
Yeah,
I
this is my lifeline. The more we do this, the more safer my son is. And that's what I'm saying. I'm doing this for the future. That's why I wrote the piece originally. I didn't think I would get anything out of it. I wrote it to whisper through art what was going on with Robertson's organization and the connected entities. And so that's why I wrote the piece. That's why it's written. That's the passion behind it. There's no passion in the Wachowskis about their work at all. In fact, they hated my work. The insider said, that called me with the inserts to tell me. He said they hate my work. They just wanted to do that to get their career going. They don't care about my work. They just want to use up the story for fame and fortune and the beautiful women and money. And Larry, even though he's changed into a woman, he's not really changed. He still has his parts. He's going to women's restrooms and hitting on even friends of mine in the restroom, like Felina Barris said.
Do you think that's
But,
all part of this agenda as well, Tom?
yes, yeah.
Is to try and try and transition our mind to get us okay to like not non-binary, not boy, not girl. Like it's
Yeah,
just
that's it. The firm called Wellesley and Proctor with Linda Burrow, who was classmates with Rankin and then Rios. They're a transgender firm. So the whole idea was that the idea is like push that agenda. It's about power. They say it's all about power. So if they can push that power, and look how many magazines are covering this and everything, like even National Geographic showed all the different things with a cover of different youth, is get the youth so confused and mixed up in this stuff, that they have the power to do that, like puppets, play us all like puppets. But they don't have the power over geniuses and their work. And they're trying to claim that everything is done under the sun. They're trying to get rid of copyright law and say everything's been done under the sun, so copyright law is not needed. And so that way they can get away with all their thefts, cancel the blank, can't chop the blank and say that, okay, no more lawsuits. And, but yeah, I'm hoping that in the future, my children will benefit, if there's still children left, will benefit from my work. I may never see a dime. And paparazzi even told me, just stay alive, Tom.
it's a
Good people are working for you.
perfect because one of my last final questions is, what is your one message for the future, Tom?
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We've got thugs and idiots taking on geniuses with heart. And there's all of us. There's a whole collective of us forming. Their tactic is to divide, alienate,
Giving me
bash,
goosebumps,
and
man.
slander. But they can't stop us, can they? They can't stop us. They may have the money, the power, but it's ill-gotten, and they know it. And one of the worst seeds in them, for them, their situation, why they're falling out of 74-story buildings after we do an interview, and why Bob Iger was fired after an interview revealing Bob Iger wanting to talk to me through his main guy, which was recorded. So what happens is the call was recorded from Bob Iger's office. What you have is they have this seed of knowing they're wrong. And that's why they blow up, like my sister does, go, manic blowing up and raging. They know inside they're wrong. My sister actually gave me a call not too long ago and said when she couldn't get one person to turn, she was upset. So they react like a knee-jerk reaction and called and said, Tom, somewhere along the line, I screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
She actually let it out, then went back to doing wrong again.
Yeah, it blurts it out of her because at the end of the day, when you're lying, it's that feeling of you're lying, but you continue to do it anyways. Like at the end of the day, it's wrong morally. It's inside of all of us.
You're right. You can't hold it. My sister, like this CIA instructional tape online, talks about how to spot someone who's lying. It's funny. It's like they show this example of a lady actually lying in a corporate situation, the actual tape. It was like my sister completely. And one of the reasons, one of the things you watch for is the foot, like all the crossed legs, and the foot goes like this. Yep. My sister's foot goes like she's talking. And that's to try to delete energy away from your lies. And so in like this thing when they're talking. And so all these key points were my sister. I was like, oh my God. And I feel so bad because even the contact on tape said, I asked one contact, Disney contact, would you forgive my sister if you were me? And they go, yeah. You have to realize it was all threat and reward. But the thing is, she had such a choice, to destroy the lives of my child too, my children. So the thing is that here we are in a situation where they don't have the brains. They picked the weakest links. The Wachowskis failed at everything they did. Their mom joked that all they did was video games. And so they're groupie fans of the work, but not my work. They hated that I had what they didn't understand. And so you've got these people they take in-house that are loyal but stupid. And they're the ones they pick to take the work. And like you said, that's the type that will do this, that will betray and steal, are the ones that aren't that bright. They got to fill that void in to feel important and powerful and successful. So that's what they do. But then that's their whole league and legion, is those people. Where the bright ones are the ones that say, I'm going to make a difference for humanity and for all humanity. If we're going to evolve, let's do it together. If life is an uphill struggle, let's help each other up that hill. And let's do work that does that. We're going to create the work that has the passion for that. They're going to steal the work, make it up on site, as they're admitting now, which is unbelievable. They're admitting it, where they're just going to fill in old hash and old stuff. That's why you have the train station scene that I have, the little girl, and the whole thing. It's unbelievable. The train station scene has a little girl and right here. And liquid mirrors. The liquid mirrors are the security devices at the train station, right? And you pass through them if you're taking the red pill. Sound familiar? And so they take that out of context. They take it out of context and make it so that the little girl's being pushed by her mom for a better life in the Matrix. In the program. And what's interesting is they have Will Smith in Legend with a lady pushing her kid forward for a better life through the train station. Same thing. So they used it up in Legend with Will Smith. And so here it is where she's pushing her kid forward, and the crowd, it's a crowded scene. They made a stagnant scene with just a Sati and her Indian family well-dressed. It's supposed to be haggard. If you're well-dressed, why are you getting rid of your kid in the program? But it's like right there. And so liquid mirrors are supposed to be integral how Neo gets trapped between worlds. What they do is they take every image they think is cool, lift it out of context individually, because they can't work with layers. So they ruin that scene. The train station scene needs liquid mirrors as a security device. So that's legitimately how they get trapped. Mm-hmm. And then the Trinity lady is the one that kisses Neo, distract the guards, gets him with her through the liquid mirrors because he's cut from the program, right? No longer can pass through them. And you see this guy cut in half where it reformed. So that's cool. But they think it's cool, but they lift it out and just make it where he's sticking his hand through.
Just make it all generic. Yeah.
Cheap the budget. And then the little girl at the train station, they don't make sense of it. Why'd they make it a well-dressed Indian couple? If they're well-dressed, why are they desperate to put their kid in the program and never see him again?
Okay.
It's a haggard woman pushing her kid forward, as they did in Legend, but they stole it in that. Use that part. Use up the rest of the story. And a crowded scene where kids, it's desperate. The lady's desperate in a crowd. Take my child, while those other people take my child, thinking they'll have a better life in the program. That it's based on merit. No, it's not. See, that's where it gets cool. So when this film is actually made, Warner Brothers and their hooches and also Soul Family are saying no one's going to watch it. No one's interested in the story. Are you serious? No one's going to want to see where the original scenes actually tie together and make sense in layers and how it actually ties together. When Neo is blindfolded and heading towards to find the dome using the memories of Smith, that's mine. That's mine. And he's holding Trinity's hand. Why is Trinity going along? Just to hold his hand? No. In mine, you actually see what Neo's seeing. And Neo is seeing the death and rape of his wife and daughter in flames by Smith, using Smith's memories to find the dome, while seeing his family suffering, feeling the feelings that Smith has, elation over their suffering, while his memories are gone, because he had to replace it with the link, which in Elysium, they did the same thing. They cut it out with a shard of glass like mine and stick it in with an overblown box on the back to try to make it bigger and better, with the memories downloaded to find again over the other side.
And it's just recycled material.
It's just using up the story. They say.
Yeah, like.
See, isn't that something?
That's
so
crazy.
Who's not going to want to watch it? Love it or hate it, they'll want to see this film because everything's there from Jackson Net, preceding Matrix, preceding Elysium, preceding the what was that one? What was that one where the memories? See, that's where you get what's it? The one Wachowski stole right away after the case was thrown. Sense8. See, using the memories of each other, feeling the feelings they feel, the layers. So Wachowski's going to wait. And get this, when the case is thrown, the Wachowskis get out there and immediately announce we have a deal with Netflix. Well, that's where the attorneys for Warner Bros. Win. Instant deal, $1 million. But here's the best part, Ryan. They didn't write a word down. They said, and the excuse was, it's too big to write down. What? So you're taking my idea after having all my notes and scripts through Discovery. Now you have all the author's notebooks through a corrupt attorney. And now you can't wait to steal it. So you don't even wait. The same week that it's thrown, you're announcing, we're doing Sense8. It's too big to write down. We got $1 million contract instantly from Netflix. Woohoo! Which Warner Brothers attorneys are now working for. we have to throw our case in that discovery.
Well, and it goes back to kind of what I was saying. We're seeing this death of Hollywood and the transition into the Netflixes, the
Netflix is owned
YouTubes.
by Hollywood. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
it's the new
Netflix,
Hollywood.
the attorneys for Warner Brothers are now working for Netflix. So Netflix is now the laundering machine. Facebook, Netflix, all these different YouTube,
Yep.
all with Disney and Warner Brothers and FBI control.
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Gee.
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Phoebe and Sia.
The
Yeah.
fake
Yeah.
fake boomer.
Yeah, but you're right. It's all coming out. I mean, now we know that Martin Luther King, the FBI set him up, gave tapes to his loved ones, tried to turn loved ones and family. It's the FBI playbook.
Well,
What's the FBI working for?
I'm glad you hit that because Tom, now that we're in 2021, transitioning into this new technological phase era where there's eyes everywhere, it feels like them. The reason that everything's being revealed is because they're still sticking to a very old playbook and they think it still works, and it's not
we're off their
working.
pages. You're right. We're off their pages. They didn't expect anybody to last. Their analysts all said, basically, no one will survive the end of this. No one will survive. We destroy their families. We kill their sons, reprogram their daughters, trash them, don't even invite them to the wedding, provide their own spouses, handle their loved ones, have them trash them. It's like worse than death. And then they will not last. They'll crumble. Take all their jobs, take their education away, take their intellectual property, harass them, pull up cars in front, flyovers, let them know we're doing it on purpose, so we're going to get their last son when we want. Well, then, okay. But they forgot in their playbook that compassion means if we're actually compassionate, and maybe they don't believe anybody is, but if we are, we're never going to die. We're never going to suicide. We're never going to stop. Why? Because if I took my life, well, how can I exercise compassion anymore? If I take my life, how am I going to help people? If my drive is to help people and make a difference in the world, then taking my life would be the stupidest thing in the world because I can't do it anymore. So I'm never going to take my life.
Never.
And my sister, brother, and cousin will.
It's almost it almost feels like a shield, man. It almost truth. You have a truth shield, even though everything around you has been taken from you and taken down. You got to still keep fighting, bro.
And you know what? It's a rush. It's a rush to do the right thing. It is cool to do the right thing. It is. And what's funny, Ryan, is in their movies, they have to go to that guideline because that's what the public expects. The heroes have to do the right thing in the end, don't they?
They always do.
Their own, and if they say they're putting us in our own movie, in our own story, well, that's our terrain. That's our story. So if you're entering our story, you're in our turf, baby. So the thing is, like, we own this world. So the thing is, like, everybody's got inputs in their mind and have been influenced, they say, by the Matrix story. That's my influence. That's my creation. That was me trying to make a better world. So the seeds are already planted for that better world. Where's the future? A better world. Because the seeds were already planted, even the ripped off material. And the Wachowskis couldn't even explain it. They stopped doing interviews and said they were shy. No, they stopped doing interviews because they were embarrassed trying to explain it.
Those are goobs.
Said it.
Those are freaking goobers.
Goobers. Watch that Bound interview.
I'm gonna pull it up when we go live. I'll pull it up.
Put it on if you can. It's just watch how they talk. Do you think these guys can write anything? They failed at everything they did. Painting business, school, dropped out, you name it. And why is Mel Gibson taking them Dino Rentis? Discovered them for what? They didn't have any body of work. Carnivore and Plastic Man. Carnivore is about a rich person eating entity eating rich people, and Plastic Man is about a guy who craps out radioactive material. Oh, brilliant, genius! What great concepts. They still haven't done them. If they're such a hit wonder, why haven't they done these films yet? That's the ones they want done, right? In fact, Larry Wachowski at the Humanitarian Awards irks me a little bit, getting credit for my work. He gets up there and he says, and his like pink wig and everything, which must cost a fortune to have all those changes. And he goes like this. The first thing he says, I have to go, this announcer's like, he's this great voice, like, now we give you the creators of Matrix and geniuses behind Speed Racer. Speed Racer. And so they get up there and they go like, Larry's first comment basically is this, trying to sound like a woman. Why doesn't anybody ever mention Bound? Yeah, great. Okay, why doesn't anybody mention Bound? Because that's what they did. They did Bound. Right? And they didn't do Matrix story. That's from us, right? My team. So what's going on? You're getting an award for Matrix, my work, and you get up there and complain. You know, the fantastic makers of creators genius behind Matrix. Why doesn't anybody ever talk about Bound? Why wouldn't you go like, thank you? for my work, right? God. And then what does he do next? What does he do next?
This is
At the
comedic.
humanitarian awards, what are you going to do? My hairdresser is the only one that knows. My hairdresser knows, like, is it still down there?
Oh
That's what he does. He does that. He does that. He talks about his genitals, whether they're there or not. Then he goes like this. He says this, in the colors, and people want to know. Then he goes like this. I'll just say, the carpet matches the drapes.
Oh my
God
God.
help us.
Please.
Freaking, that's a dude.
Lord.
About his privates. We are not interested, Larry. You didn't create anything. We're not interested in your hairdresser or you. You're scum.
You're
And you're a
scum.
thief. And you can't write anything.
What
And
alternate universe? What alternate universe do they live in? It's like, seriously.
that's what I keep thinking. I keep getting images of like an actual universe or the timeline we're supposed to be in. This is not it. It's like Gladiator. This is not it. This is not it. Chained to the wall. I'm coming back for the final fight.
And I'm very excited to hopefully be a part and witness it, Tom.
I want you to be. Yeah.
So because the future we have to go through hell to come out on top at the end. And so right now it does really feel like we're in a rough patch, and it's maybe even going to get rougher, but there is, again, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's sunshine after the rain. And
Right.
if we keep sticking to our guns and seeking
Oh,
truth
yeah.
and compassion, then I think I pray and I hope that we win, man.
We will. And to the FBI and to Warner Brothers and Disney and Robertson's Group, I'm never going to stop. I am peaceably going to use the truth, never take my life, to finish the job so it's a better world, help the children, help other writers, help all humanity evolve, along with other heroes and great people and great minds, which you guys don't have. I'm going to finish the work. Even if you're coming with SWAT teams and hauling me off for no good reasons on 302 claims, because of bought family, which you bought. Brian Fitzpatrick should not be a congressman when he's a lifelong FBI agent. That's a Justice Department mixing with legislative. That is not supposed to happen. That's pillars of our founding fathers' structures put in place for checks and balances that you should not be bridging. And you should not have these mega monopolies where you own securities, phone systems, oil, pharmaceutical, film, TV stations, news. You should not be owning these. These are mega monopolies. It's against the law. We're going to change this world. It's coming down in your head. A new Hollywood's coming. We're going to change it. You are so guilty of so many things. Your attorneys are going to jail because you've corrupted a whole system that's supposed to protect the American public. And the FBI is saying they're going to protect themselves, only protect themselves if they come at you, then you're out of a job. You're not needed. You are thugs that are ruining this world, harming children. You're going to be revealed. You can have your journals. It's not going to do any good. We're coming on strong.
We'll
do it peaceably. There'll be a peaceable change, and you can use all your toys and weapons and money. It won't make a difference. You're going down, and they hate that. They hate it being revealed. They'll strike this one instantly. Make copies. Make sure people keep putting them up because we're going to keep putting the word out. All they can do is try to erase us.
Tom, I got goosebumps. The back of my hair is standing up. Your compassion cannot be matched, bro. And it is time, and I love how you say it with your chest. You are an amazing soul. You are an amazing soul, my friend.
Thank you. Now watch the Wachowskis interview. I would love to see the Wachowskis and us on an interview talking about the baby, like Solomon's baby. Let's talk about where does the train station scene come from? Where's the Jackson Neck come from? Where's it originally written down? How's it proven that's originally written down? Who proceeds? What about the identical figures at the end? What about the red pill, blue pill? Let's look at all these things. Zion, the council, the stadium. Let's look at all of it. The squiddies. And let's discuss it, Wachowskis, and in the inserts. Let's discuss it. Let's take a look at these things.
So you hear that, Wachowski brothers, Warner Brothers?
Yeah,
we're willfully, lawfully, peacefully. We're not even down for a debate. Let's just have a conversation. My phone lines are always open. They always are open on my show. So, and that's what I've been here, man. I just want to have a conversation, and right now, people do not want you to do that.
No, they don't.
And it's sad.
That invitation goes to Sophia Stewart, to Paul Anderson. Let's have it. Let's go for it. Let's see the evidence. There's not a shred of evidence for Paul Anderson or Sophia Stewart. They're both in-house. They're both in-house for Warner Brothers and Marvel Comics. So let's have it. Let's go for it. I love it, Ryan.
It's a big club. Thank you, Tom. Lastly, what do you believe in, Tom?
I believe in people, that we do have a heart, that we do have compassion as our center, that we're born without sin. We're born beautiful creatures, and we could be some of the most beautiful creatures on this beautiful planet. We can make a difference. If we come together, then we'll be beautiful. We'll be benevolent creatures. We got to do it together. We're not made to be separated. And we can't have people all about power. It's not about power. It's about compassion. Compassion breeds creativity. Compassion breeds evolvement. We'll evolve to even higher beings if we employ compassion for each other in all life. That's how we're going to advance. Forget the money system. Forget power. It means nothing. In the end, if you're about power, you're going to turn on each other. Last man, last woman standing. If you're about compassion, we all are at the end of this. We're all at the end succeeding together and celebrating the success of each other. So that's the difference.
Any man or woman who has fear or anger cannot see passion or truth, and that's what it is at the end of the
You're
day.
right. Their eyes go off of it. Their eyes go off of it. It's so focused in fear on themselves, they implode. And that's evident in my sister, the Wachowskis, Jill Silver, Mike Lang, Harvey Weinstein. And watch Michael Eisner. Keep an eye on Michael Eisner. He has moved like Robertson to protect his legacy. They even say he's concerned about his legacy now. Well, I'm sorry. If you've murdered people and paid for it and stolen and institutionalized it, then that door is still open with the screams of those that were hurt and the challenge of those with the courage to speak up. They're being heard from the living room. So if you're retreating to your bedroom for your legacy, the door's not closed. The world's going to hear the truth. Your legacy is not safe. It will be revealed who you truly are. You will not go down in history as benevolent people. In the future, the truth will be known. That's my salve. That's my comfort. That no matter what happens to me, no matter if I get not even a dime, I don't care. I care about my future. People, loved ones, people with courage are my family. They are my family.
Thank God. You are my family, Tom. You are my brother, and I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you so much. How can people find you? Is your website still available?
My website's being monkeyed with all the
Yeah,
time.
that's what I feel like.
People even try to go to PayPal to donate for the film,
Yeah.
and they don't get through often. And they'll go to the website and
Well,
they'll say, they're not there.
we know that these companies, the Spotify's, the PayPal, they're all in the same bed.
They're on the same bed.
Fortunately, we're seeing alternative tech, so I will try and send you some alternative
Here.
tech to use. But where can people find you?
Red,
Because I even got lucky finding your alternative phone number. How can people get a hold of you if they want to contact you, man?
Red Pill, well, first of all, the website, Red Pill Rising, is the website, redpillrising.org. Now, some people may have trouble, some people may get through. But I'll give my phone number because I've got to do it archaically because it's the only way we're going to bridge this. And what I'm asking is use the phone number if you want to, give an input. I can't stay on the line long because there's a lot going on I got to do to fight this through. And my last son's life is at stake in all this too. And the future of the world. I want to do what I can, my part, since I hold the key. They call it the key now. So if you want to use the phone number, leave a message. I'll try to get back. If it's somebody who wants to help out, I will definitely have an ear. The other side is just a lot of times setting shills and players to.
I can, yeah, I was worried about you were gonna think I was, but
No, not at all. I can, like you, I can read people too. You're right. It's about the passion, compassion. You can see it. We see each other. And so I've been real good at reading the false ones, and I haven't even taken time of day with many of them.
Good.
Some I play along with and let them give information in the end.
Right. Because that's what they do. They'll try and lead you on, but you ultimately, if you're smart enough, you can get information from them to see what the enemy's doing.
That's right. Zen move. Like you act like you're falling for it, and then suddenly they start getting comfortable.
Right.
So, but the number I have, 276-893-0847.
Okay, and it's the one I want to have. So if people want to reach out to
go
me,
ahead and put it out there because that's all we have left. Now, AT&T is owned by Warner Brothers, just like Disney owns ABC News, and Warner Brothers also owns CNN. Notice all these films with CNN News on there in the film. CNN, because it's owned by Warner Brothers, so that studio's allowed to.
Which ultimately I believe was created by the CIA too, both of them.
Absolutely, yeah, that's the play on it. Absolutely. So they're pocketed. But the thing is, like, go ahead and give a message or a call. I can't respond to everybody, but if you do get on the line, like if you try to get on Red Pill Rising, redpillrising.org, and can't get on, you can also leave a message for me too, and I'll try to do what I can.
Okay. Do you have an email that's legit still, or no? I'm
reforming my email. The one I do have right now that is monkeyed with sometimes, it's supposed to be protected, is JEOTP@protonmail.com.
Proton Mail's good. Okay.
Yeah, so you see the actual characters first initial with Neo.
Okay, so I from the site, I believe it was the site. So the phone number on the site and the email on the site are no good anymore. I'm gonna try
Yeah,
and give out your most recent ones. And I
right.
please, if you do happen to change your number, please shoot me a text or reach
I
out to
will.
me
I
if you can,
will. I'm
because
getting new email too. New email.
I would love to stay in contact with you. Do this again in a couple months. Maybe when
Yeah.
the Matrix 4 comes out, we can talk and go more down the rabbit hole of the actual
Good.
Immortals
I would
script
love
and
that.
things like that to get more of an idea of what
I would
where
love
we're.
to. I'd love to talk about where these scenes originated from. Wachowskis can't tell you.
No,
They have made it. I would love to talk about where the train station, why it's there.
definitely, man.
And it's interesting, the Wachowskis on their fan page, all they did was when the people said, "What about the little girl?" They said she's just a subplot. Little girl's in the whole story. Little girl's the author trying to reunite with his little girl. It's
Wow.
all. That's why she hugs. It's supposed to hug Neo at the end and point to Sun, not the Oracle, but they need Neo to replace the
At the
Christ.
very end of the first.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what didn't make
Yep.
sense. Yeah, when they said Neo couldn't die. But here's one more tidbit for you before we go: is that in the Animatrix, remember that clock face with the
Yes.
exact birthday and age? They also go so far to put my name, Tom Park Althouse, across the screen backwards. The mirror reversed image is what they do, and that's in the second story too. They change a antique shop to an antique house, and then they put ALT
My
house. They
God.
put POM, and they put Park in the middle. And interesting what they did to make the graphic work. They actually do a Tom Park middle name reverse, where they put Mo Park extending the line off the P. So reversed, it looks like Tom. Back the way, it's Park. And so the actual middle name is in the middle. And then they have Tom etched out, and then they have Alt House, and they have ways to make it shine. And then if you raise all the letters, they line up perfectly for Tom Park Alt House.
Viewers, family, go and check some of this stuff out he's talking about because he's obviously someone told him about this. You can't even find this all out by yourself.
No way I would
So
know. I was too busy dodging
just like
bullets.
the phone number 555, you'll find Tom in all these Warner Brother movies. Let's go.
Yeah, if you go to, like, I just watched Home with my manager's daughter, and there's the watch with 7-2 on it. Then I just watched the other one, Ratatouille, 7-2 on the watch. The clocks in Space Force, 7-2, 7-2 in different scenes.
And that
Then what they do is reverse the image. They're always in the reversing image. It's part of the cult thing. So it becomes, instead of 7-2, what's that, 5-10? So they reverse it. So you'll show a shot with 7-2. Next shot, the clock will be 5-10, and they reverse it.
and it's
And so that's
almost
all part of it.
it's like a symbolism thing. I feel like also as well, it's like they know they're lying, so they have to reveal the truth in some sense to like
Exactly, exactly.
to prove that, or to show that they're not lying, to counter it. But
That's
I
right, right,
I don't agree
right.
anymore. I don't agree with that anymore.
Yeah. And also it's like reflecting that alternate universe. Like the real timeline, we're not in the real timeline. This is a changed, stolen timeline from all of us. All these people like us that have created stuff and things like that have been robbed, many of us, and destroyed. Many of us will never have breath again. We're still going and we'll never stop. But that timeline should have had those people in it, thriving. So this is not the timeline it should have been. This is stolen life, stolen glory, stolen timeline. Wachowskis are not supposed to be famous. Joel Silver's not supposed to be famous. He was a spoiled fat kid. He's not supposed. Mike Lang, a thug.
Pause.
Everybody hated him at Film Tracks, and the other one, Miramax Films. They hated him. They couldn't wait to see him go when he left when we came forward. Harvey Weinstein, no words needed, right? Put in place by Michael Eisner for Mike Lang.
And look
I mean,
at, and that's exactly what they do. The lowest at the food chain,
goes below.
they'll start cutting you out. So they came after Steve. Who's next? They're not going to stop.
Like Steven Spielberg. Look at Steven Spielberg. What did he do? Steven Spielberg had his best friend take my housemate so he could have access to my work, got my screenplay. And that was back in 96. And what happens is Spielberg is the one that, like I said, related to Ben Burt with my brother.
Hmm.
Married to Diane Groves, Groves are related to Ben Burt. Spielberg's main number one guy. Spielberg's not best friend is one that was on tape saying to me, "Don't you ever effing come to Hollywood, you're a dead man." And what's interesting is he said to Kirsten, my housemate, "If you sleep with me," there's the whole sex ring, "then you'll have dinner with Spielberg and you'll be a lead in Sweet Charity." And that's something. And so what happens is Spielberg, what does he do after that? After he gets Kirsten to go out with him, to his best friend, he does Minority Report. What's the Minority Report? In Minority Report, again, the inserts all right there for you in plain sight to make me feel clever than the rest of the public, right? And so in that you have Captain John Anderton. He takes, instead of Anderson, John Anderson, as they did my dad's name in Matrix graphic with the high school and birthday and all that stuff. What they do then is Spielberg changes it to John Anderton in Minority Report. What's Minority Report about? Minority Report in 2002 is about pre-crime. So you're going to create a crime,
Right.
a 302 situation, right? So what happens is his son's name is Sean. My son's name was Sean, murdered.
Wow.
So my son's name, Sean, is murdered. Tom Cruise plays Captain John Anderton. My dad's rank in the Navy was captain. Captain John, his name is John. Anderson's our Scottish clan name.
Yep.
To Anderton for Tom in Anderson. And so you got that whole name with the son. And what is Spielberg saying? Tom Cruise is going to be put into the pods, shut away forever, 302'd as a pre-crime, going to commit mass murder. Why? Because his son Sean was killed. That's before my son Sean was killed. So Spielberg is announcing in the
My
film, Sean is
God.
going to die. Tom Cruise character, my dad's name and rank, is going to be committed on a 302 because obviously he's going to be guilty of a pre-crime where his son Sean will send him over the edge to commit mass murder. They were trying to haul me off as a mass murderer on a 302. Way to go, Spielberg. Way to go. Look at the newspaper in the scene in Minority Report, and you also see inserted over and over nanotech beyond our wildest dreams, nanotech. That's what they use, nanotech also. So there's my dad's name and rank, Captain John Anderton, being used as the manhunt because Sean was killed. And Spielberg puts that in before Sean is killed. I want that to think.
These sick asses.
He's a sick man. Spielberg is a very sick man. They call him Spielberg in Hollywood.
Yes, that's what I've heard, actually.
Lecherous man. He's a sick, lecherous man. One of the worst players in Hollywood, along with Eisner.
Tom, I got some homework to do. I gotta go watch all these movies. We're gonna make a compilation of all the Tom birthdays in all the movies.
See, that's why, Ryan, they can't refute this stuff, so they just strike the interviews. They strike them.
Well,
that's how desperate they are.
That's when you'll go to hit your website, and that's what made me even believe you more. Is I went to your website after I started finding out your story, and then boom, interview after interview, nix, gone, blocked. I'm like,
well, Michael Yako went to like 170,000 views in a week, and on our interview, and he was on there with his friend Jay. And he's going like, Tom, you're a beast. You're a beast. Oh my God, this is so true. He says, I've been in the CIA. I know what you're saying is true. I know you got the evidence. So they strike his interview.
Oh my
right?
God.
Red Pill 78 was on there. And there's Zach saying, like, this is true, people. This is true. There's no denying the evidence. I've seen it. It's true. So they not only strike Red Pill 78's interview, they strike his site. Sarah Westall, they strike her site after they did an interview with me. And who's calling me to tell me their sites are struck? Sophia Stewart. On the phone.
Of course. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm not I don't have a huge following. I'm a smaller one, but this is where we need to be. Is like we gotta start. We gotta communicate and get it out to the people. So I'm on some smaller sites. I'm gonna attempt to put it on YouTube. We'll see how that goes.
Well, you might get a week with it, and this might be worth it.
Yeah.
You know, out there, they'll strike it.
Yeah.
But that's because the Wachowskis now also control YouTube content.
Yeah.
Now.
So I'm gonna it'll be on BitChute, Odyssey, and we're gonna air it live tonight on DLive. So yeah.
Well, good.
Odyssey
fantastic. Well. It just came to me, Ryan, too, is this. Now, stop talking so much. Is that the Wachowskis, the way we'll know that they got the message about the challenge to meet is because if YouTube strikes your interview from YouTube, that means the Wachowskis saw it.
Okay, for sure. We'll see. Yeah. Again, and we're not Wachowskis. Peacefully, willfully, lawfully. Okay? The phone lines are always open. Can we just talk, man?
Yeah, let's go over evidence.
Let's just talk, man. They don't want to talk. Yeah. Please, you can wear a wig if you want.
Yeah. The pink hair. That's what killed me about Larry. Larry was on there with the awards talking about, I hate that. Maybe almost threw up when he said, the drapes match the rug or drape.
Oh Lord.
Like, what the hell are you doing? Humanitarian award. Humanitarian award. It's like Andy's response to Trump's wife and Elon Musk when they go like, Jackson Neck or whatever, which is mine. Red Pill, which is mine. And what's Andy's wise words to recount or respond to them? F you. Way to go, Andy. Way to show your intellect.
Yeah,
so that's all I could do.
How do you feel? I mean, this will probably hold for the next conversation, but maybe briefly. How do you feel now that it's such a well-known kind of like trendy thing to say be red-pilled now?
Well, that's the funny thing. I love you asked that question, Ryan. I'm glad we took the time for that. Because the funny thing is, think of it. Red and blue, all right? Red pill, blue pill. What did I initially intend? Well, the red pill and blue pill idea came about because I needed an idea for how you entered the program. All right. So as a writer, you sometimes use shortcut modes that you'll come back to later. That's what I did. So my shortcut mode to keep the thoughts flowing that were flowing at coming fast for me. I don't have writer's block. It just flows.
I can
Was
tell.
okay, take a red pill or blue pill, red pill, blue pill. It just came like that. Bam. And I put it down, red pill, blue pill. And they know that from my notes and submission. And I talked about it during the pitch session with Bonaventura, right? Through Lenny Coco. So red pill, blue pill. Here's the funny thing. Red pill isn't something you're offered with the blue pill. It's not this idea that you can take the red pill or blue pill. It's not offered to Neo that way in mind. He's offered the red pill. If he doesn't take it, he and his family will die. The red pill is the deep state's offer only. You take the red pill. It's like when they courted me. You can be part of our team. You're part of the elite if you join us. But if you don't, we'll make your life hell. You'll be destroyed. There is no blue pill. Red pill. Now, where's the blue pill come from in the original? The blue pill is the bootleg pill underground forms to end the program, to extend their life. Now think of the symbology. Red, what are they always? The red shoes, the red stuff, red in Hollywood, evil. Blue, harmony, tranquility, blue. Blue eyes, the blue. So in the blue shirt. So blue is my favorite color. So the original concept was the blue pill was good. The red pill was deep step. Absorb you in the program or you die. What were they doing with me? They kept absorbing me. They reversed it. So everybody's been red pilled, which means they've taken the Hollywood red pill.
Wow.
If you want to come clean, take the blue pill.
Oh, we're blue pillars over here. Let's go.
Let's start that. That's what the original. That's what this will show you.
That is so base, Tom. I love it.
Does it make sense?
I love it, man.
I've had red pills stuck outside in front of my car.
That makes so much more sense. Because
yeah,
red is evil. Red is.
It's the stolen version, where they cheapened it into Alice in Wonderland. If you're making it up on set, you're drawing from what you're familiar with. That's why the ghost, the train man from Ghost, is in the train scene. I don't have, if you read those pages, if you get a chance, I don't have the train man in here. I have the train station scene with a little girl trying to enter a better life with her family they can't follow, which is haggard and liquid mirrors with security devices. I don't have a train man. When the Wachowskis held that script up on set, which was a 20-foot rule, remember, you're fired if it was within 20 feet. A-list actors aren't allowed to make comments or suggestions, which is the first basically in the industry. So while they're making it up as they go, they're drawing from what their shallow minds are drawing from. Alice in Wonderland, Train Man from Ghost, that kind of stuff. So they're drawing from rehash to fill in the blanks like Jurassic DNA for the dinosaurs as they make it up on set. But when they came to the end, they didn't know how to end it. Why was there a debate on set about everybody saying blow up the Matrix to end it? Because they were making it up on set and came to a dead standstill. So Wachowski said what they did was they stuck to only using my ending, exact sequence of scenes, but they ruined it because you took the little girl relationship of Neo out. Mm-hmm. The little girl from the train station is reflective, reminding Neo of the daughter he lost, who was the same age and looked the same and had the same name, Brittany. So that's why you have the little girl at the train station. It's a very powerful scene for Neo's character. He's seeing a little girl being pushed forward. Take her. Looks like his daughter he just lost in the past. And that's what his family's doing because they think they'll get a better life in the program. So no, Wachowskis, your answer to the fan page isn't the little girl at the train station, just a subplot. It's integral to a satisfying ending. When that little girl shows up at the end, she's hugging her daddy, restored to 6 years old, not having died in a nursing home, aged with burn scars on her face, which showed Neo that his family had been firebombed and destroyed. And she was left alone for 70 years, which Christopher Nolan used up that part of the story in Inception. Hold on. And so he used it up and ruined it by having a little girl who had aged with her daddy coming back, library of memories, and she's not interested, doesn't even care, doesn't show any emotion at all. That's not what it's supposed to be. It is supposed to be a dramatic scene when the little girl is reunited, aged 70-some years old with Alzheimer's with her dad. It's an amazing scene in here, I believe. I love it. In fact, my friend Greg Mazer, who testified too, has the floppy disks and everything timestamped with this all on it, preceding Matrix, way preceding Matrix. He wept when he saw that scene too, and I cried when I reread it. Mm-hmm. Because you have the little girl having Neo character saying, "Daddy, you'll come to my birthday," 7 years old. Firebombing happens, mother attacked, which they used in Elysium. The mother attacked in front of the daughter. They used that up in there too. Many things in Elysium, which was Warner Brothers' take on the work after this case was thrown. And then when he comes back, it is Smith that brings back Neo in the future and he's supposed to be his mentor. Why? Because the architect, the balance of the program is stimulus of the mind. His mind will atrophy, the architect, if he doesn't have stimulus. So he knows every choice we're going to make, every choice. That's why they harp on free will, but don't really make anything of it. It's the architect needs that conflict between Smith and Neo as the key play, where Smith is not allowed to take Neo out. Neo doesn't have Superman powers. He doesn't have that. They threw that in because I pitched the Dream movie, which became Inception. The Dream movie, I pitched that where they would dream and he would fly in his dream to get away from danger. And then he's in charge of a whole group, and the whole group is responsible. He's responsible for
So that was like a whole alternative, maybe like movie or whatever.
Yeah, so they mixed my Dream movie with Immortals together to make Matrix. That's why Superman, again, drawing what they're familiar with, the phone booth, which makes no sense.
Yeah, just Hollywood BS.
But think of it. You have the little girl, she was promised her daddy would come back. That's when he's taken out and brought back in the future 70 years later, right? And he's told that Smith is going to be his mentor. Well, Smith is the one that caused all the problems, right? They hate each other. And that's why later he cuts out his enhancer out of the back of the neck, the Neuralink. Elon Musk didn't come up with it. It's all in our work. They gave it to him. They did. And so he's part of this whole thing too, part of the elite. And so he cuts it out and uses the memories of Smith. What happens is when he comes back, he goes to see his little girl. He's ordered by Smith. He can't see any family members. Well, only one's left, Brittany. She now has Alzheimer's, 70 years old, dying. So they're setting him up to go to her. And he goes to her. They cut the scene out, and that's why Christopher Nolan used it up. He wanted it so bad for the Star Trek Universal Studios. And so he goes to see his daughter, and the receptionist is like, wait, she doesn't have any family. Who are you, a friend? He sneaks in and sees her. She's got burn scars on her face. Why that's important is in the end, she won't have burn scars for the satisfying ending. What happens to her in the end when she's back as a little girl. And that's from the Spiderwick Chronicles. They used it up, Disney used it up that way. And so they keep using up the rest of the story, they say. So when Neo is leaving in ours, after leaving the little girl, his daughter, and saying he'll promise to go to the birthday party in tears, Morpheus pops up in the back seat, who worked at his CIA department. And he becomes underground. He pops on the back of the seat and says his house is firebombed, his family's dead, what's going on? Since our guy is bugged, Neo's bugged at that point, the interrogation scene bugging, he pushes his best friend out of the car, turns on his best friend, like we said about turning on friends and stuff, and says to Smith through the device, don't hurt my family. So when he's brought back, he goes to see his daughter. Smith's in charge of him, rules not to see anybody. Goes and sees his daughter. See how intricate this is? He goes and sees his daughter. There she is, 70 years old, burn scars on her face. So that house was firebombed. Now she's saying in a 7-year-old voice, because she got dementia, Alzheimer's, touching his face, his cheek, like a little girl would. Daddy, I knew you'd come back. A man pulled me out of the fire. Now, audiences and Neo's perspective is that the Smith at least did something good for his daughter, which completes the idea of complex
the yin, the yang.
Feelings over what does he feel about Smith? You've done all these terrible things, but you saved my family. The complexities, right? Which gives the architect stimulus. And I'll finish up. So what happens is an orderly comes in and says, get out of here, you're confusing her. She says, please don't leave me again, Daddy. What would you do as a father? He scoops up this 70-year-old woman with burn scars on her face, busts by the orderly, runs down the hall. He has no plan, but you're just acting on instinct. Doctors and orderlies stop him. And he looks down, and she's died with a smile on her face and tears. Now, this is a powerful scene. The Wachowskis don't use it because they're idiots.
Because they're wearing wigs. They're wearing wigs, bro.
You cannot use my ending if you stripped out this scene. There's no satisfying ending, Wachowskis. Everybody on set was right. You should have blown it up as you're making it up on set. But they kept my exact ending.
What ultimately
that make them geniuses.
Tom,
but see, that's why the ending, when you have what happens is they take the body from him and he goes outside, and there's your cover for the Matrix. 3 guys in trench coats staring him down because he broke the rules. Icy moment of nothing, and then Neo walks on, nothing else to lose. You join him in the future. What's next? The train station scene with a little girl being pushed forward that's being said to be Brittany, so he can take her into the program with the liquid beers that he can't pass through because he took the red pill, Wachowskis.
Jeez.
It's not a subplot. It matters for a satisfying ending, because next time you see the little girl, what happens? The ending, which they kept. Doesn't make any sense with theirs.
Which doesn't make sense now, yeah.
No, but let's look how it does make sense. So the architect needs stimulus. He has an oracle, which is ambiguous, replacing an evil oracle. which is working for the architect
Mm-hmm.
who represents Robertson's group, fooling the public.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
so
Okay.
he's replaced by Parks, the Oracle, the actual Oracle, which is not a African-American woman who was placed there to look like Sophia Stewart. So the person they took from USC can look like the Oracle. They did it on purpose so they can claim, oh, look, it's Sophia Stewart wrote it because the Oracle looks like her. Warner Brothers made the Oracle look like her because Sophia Stewart was in-house out of USC for Warner Brothers to make it look like it, so the audience would fall for that. Looking like it doesn't mean she wrote it. Looking like it means Warner Brothers put her there to look like it so they could claim she's it. Get it?
Yeah, they play.
What happens, I know you do. And so what happens is in the end, to have a satisfying ending, the way it's supposed to be Wachowski's is keep the same ending with the little girl story in the beginning. So now you have a little girl at the end coming up without burn scars after the pulse wave came out from identical figures, passing over everybody, renewing the earth, including the little girl from the train station. And then you have a cutaway with a little girl coming up, hugging Neo, saying, we watched you, Daddy. You did well. That's the man that pulled me out of the fire, pointing to the sun, because it was Christ that pulled her out of the fire. So now we know as an audience, it wasn't Smith that saved his daughter. Oh, a moment. It was the Christ. Facing off with the architect, throwing him into the crater, bringing the pulse wave out. And they even kept Ryan, the scene where in the crater, facing off identical figures, right? Making it Neo instead of the Christ. What happens is he's hit, the Christ figure's hit, he looks, only his palms bleed, and he looks up, and the architect knows he's finished. They kept that scene too. Look at the Matrix, and you see Neo looking down, palms bleeding, looks up. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything because the historic figure's gone. It's gone. Anyway, that's it. I wanted to share that. See that? Now you've met why you balance the equation. It's not about battery power. You can hook up cows. Yes, I have the field of pods in mind. The architect bringing back his top 100 on test subjects, one by one, writhing in pain in field of pods. Yeah, it's there. So they took that, made it up on set, and made it about battery power, and held up a battery to mock me. That's what the context said from Warner Bros. When he called me. Battery power is stupid. Hook up cows, you get more power from their bigger bodies, and you don't have to worry about free will. Why are you hooking up humans? Why are you hooking up humans? Hook up elephants.
Cows. What ultimately is your message that you were trying to send through the Immortals?
I love it. That we cannot succeed without each other. That you should try and never give up. Core themes are family, loyalty, friendship, compassion, and that we can make a better world. And here's the real, under the dark side. Let's dig up the hole and put it into the light. The real core of this, just like from Lost when they dig it up. A new world order is coming.
It's here.
It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. If we have no choice and that new order is coming, let's make it a good one. If we have a one world society, let's make it a good one. We can do that. If the right people, if the pyramid's inverted and the right people are calling the shots. And that comes down to the whole issue of power. That's why they call and say, Tom, you won the chess game, you have the power. Because those of us like us are the ones that'll be calling the shots. In fact, part of the handling of me was saying they wanted me to run for president. Now, that's not me saying that. That's them saying that. Because if I was known for actually this, and we actually make this, and we have the smarts and brains like they don't, and they're fans of the work, then they consider that we would actually draw the focus.
You would be considered as like The Rock. Look, The Rock's
Yeah,
going
The
to
Rock.
run for president,
That's right.
maybe.
That's right. And they know that people would be like, you know, that's the guy that actually did this. That's the guy that, and now they're saying too, that since we persevered and won the chess game, as they say, that our story is what's the biggest story in Hollywood. So now the studios are trying to figure out how to make our story and get credit for it without me in it. So that's why they did the Richard Jewell story at Warner Brothers. The Richard Jewell story was the FBI being bad. They're turning on each other. And a guy who went through what I went through, and they're testing it. So that's why it's so different, the Richard Jewell story. They're testing to see if people will go for it. And they did. So Warner Brothers did a test story. They all want to capitalize off my real life story, which they put me into my own film. Isn't that something? They want to steal that too.
It's something,
after
man.
I heard it.
Yeah,
anyway,
Jesus, Tom. RedPillRising.org?
RedPillRising.org.
RedPillRising.org. He left.
You'll see the inserts there. You'll see the insert material.
Not only that, you have a lot of the documentation on there as well, right?
Yeah, it's there. You'll see the stuff about very good. The copyright office stuff, the ploy there with putting the title and the other subtitles, and realize that's why the subtitles are there. And you'll see there's Gino Laurentiis with the Wachowskis, Paradise Films, Look, and also the biggest investment firm, which is based out of France. And that's all there on that entry. And then look what happens when I show up in Hollywood in 1996, July 1996. De Laurentiis takes his name off of it, and Paradise Films off of it, because the full script is in the Copyright Office, and they still just have a title base.
Death by copyright, man. That's where we're at right now. They want to copyright words and then say
That's
you're
it.
illegal for using those words.
Yeah,
It's crazy, man.
yeah. But yeah,
Tom,
let's do this again. And
Tom,
thanks for taking all the time.
Tom, the passion you can it is unmatched, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't thank you enough for your time.
My
Again,
pleasure.
redpillrising.org. Add the socials below. We'll get you his phone number. Reach out to me if you need it. It's earlier in the interview. If you guys want to reach out to his email on Proton Mail as
Yeah,
well.
please
And
do.
again, Tom, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I
Oh, my
really,
pleasure.
I really not only appreciate the interview, but I appreciate what you're trying to do, man. You're just
Well, you just made me think of something. If you have all this stuff, like the clock face and the high school and all that stuff in there, are you going to be silent? If they went so far as to do all this, including my dad's name and TA 4099 and all that stuff, and missed birthday and corrected birthday, are you going to stay silent? If your name's fully across screen backwards, are you going to stay silent? If you have the copyright preceding them, are you going to stay silent? I have a responsibility I can't shirk. I have to live this out. I have to play this out. There's no going back. There's no going left or right. There's no selling out. I've got a job. It's a tunnel I got to go through and come out the other end, and everybody benefits. And so I know if I win, everybody wins. So I got to finish the job. I don't have a choice. And you know what? I'm glad I don't have a choice right now. I can't be tempted off course. And I'm glad I'm looking forward to that future, like you said. So thank you for
stand up for what's right. It's good versus
absolutely
evil, right versus wrong, Tom. And I thank you so much, man.
my pleasure.
I got your number. We're gonna do it again in a
All
couple
right,
months. When that Matrix 4 comes out, we'll diss it a lot. I'm just kidding.
do it. Oh my God, I can't even watch it. So yeah.
Sick to
Oh,
your stomach, huh, man?
old guys riding motorcycles and jumping off a building. So that's gonna be fun. No, I don't think I'll see that.
And
I go to the geriatric ward and see that.
a
Yeah,
handicap motorcycle.
yeah. I mean, I can make the sequel with go to a nursing home, put some guys on a motorcycle, and have them drive around and go, "Oh my God, kids, isn't it great? Well, that's exciting, isn't it? Oh, there goes their wig. There goes their teeth.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, Tom.
yeah.
Bro, it was a pleasure, Tom. Thank you so much,
Pleasure.
brother.
All right.
Seriously, seriously. Hopefully we can do this again and hit me. And honestly, if you need anything or anything, any way I can help you out in any way, just let me know, man.
Well, if anybody wants to contribute and help too, we do need to keep going. They take everything away from us, so it'll help us go forward. And we need to, find the right people and make sure they're funded too. So anybody wants to help, we can sure use that, PayPal or anything like that.
Okay,
But
cool.
also, yeah, we'll definitely do this again. But I want people to know, anybody involved right now, you are part of history. You are heroes. You are all heroes. Because the toughest thing to do is get behind people who actually have the truth. And there's a penalty for that that's been going around, and rewards for not doing it.
Right.
And for those that are doing it, that are actually getting behind all this, you are the heroes, and history will remember you. They will remember you.
I hope I'm on the right side of history this time,
You're on
Tom.
the right side. Believe me, trust me, you are.
I
And I'll say it as long as I have a voice.
thank you so much,
All
brother.
right,
You have a great rest of your day, man.
you too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That was fucking awesome.